All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the brief technical difficulties. We are back and into game number one between UCLA and Cal Poly Pomona. Fekez, why don't you let me know, fill me in, and of course anybody else who's now just tuning in to the action.
Well, so far it's Pomona taking control of this game. Gamefi Honey's in the mid lane, who we do know is Silver Midget. He's been zoning off skill shots fired pretty heavily. Roamed to the bot lane, got a double kill, and also Pomona able to secure the first dragon of the game. The only lane that's really going in the way of UCLA is a top lane, and Gamefi Honeys has died still yet, so it's not looking good for UCLA right now. They have a 3K gold lead. They're about to take mid lane turret if they want, as we know Zir can shove a turret pretty hard, as well as Mookie's, who's more likely getting this bot lane pretty soon as well. And that's essentially what's happened. It's been Pomona kind of taking one advantage and running away with it.
All right, yeah, of course, one big difference to point out is, of course, in the mid lane, 2-0 start is not necessarily what you'd expect to see versus in between. Oh my gosh, okay! Ganked by a Honey is just ganked a Honey up there. I'm not sure if Lulu counts there. Jam Hearts and a challenger player in his own right, though, so definitely can't take anything away from any of these players. In fact, I think more challenger players in this game than non-challengers, or at least they have been at one point. So like you said, Ganked by Honey's holding down the top lane, but will that be enough? I mean, there's only so hard a Malphite can carry.
Yeah, and they're really forming around this Yasuo type comp. You have the Unstoppable Force, you have Glacial Fissure, you even have what is it, like Dusk? I think it's called Moonfall. Yeah, Moonfall from Stuntopolis. A lot of ways to trigger Last Breath. And 2 skill shots fired's credit. He's been getting zoned off so hard, but he's not dying, which means he's still farming. Not as much as Ganked by Honeys, but he's farming enough to still be able to get the items that he needs, that whenever he does get those ults from his teammates, he can make them count. So they're really relying on this team fight over on the side of UCLA.
That's right. For UCLA, a couple of things are going to be very, very important. Like you said, team fight. It's not just being able to fight with 5 players versus 5 players. You have to land your wombo combos. That's one of the big reasons you pick this Malphite Yasuo. It used to be Gragas Yasuo, just to get those big knockups to set up for Yasuo. Unfortunately, when Yasuo is far enough behind, the damage might just not be there. We're about to see Jam Hearts and Heart the Fountain the hard way. Third death of the game, or second death of the game for Lulu, and just continually snowballing that top lane. And you got to give this to Stuntopolis, very intelligent, to say, look, I may not be able to turn this entire game around, but maybe I can make one lane win so hard, that's the way back in.
Yeah, and he's been having trouble getting ganks off this for a while, too. He wasn't able to get anything successful off in the bot lane. And mid lane, even though Ganked by Honeys has actually been shoving up skill shots fired this entire time, he hasn't been able to make anything happen there either, because skill shots fired has usually been half health. So and Ganked by Honey has been full health with exhaust. So if Stuntopolis tried ganking the mid lane, it would have been pretty much by himself, and Ganked by Honey is strong enough. He probably could have repelled him. But that second dragon going over to Pomona, because they have complete control of this game right now, except for the top lane. But I don't think it's going to be a huge detriment, because Jam Heart's Anne, I should say, on Lulu, still going to be able to do exactly what you need to.
That's right. And I'm sure Anne is, in fact, a very lucky person out there having jammed a heart them. But
gotta put it somewhere.
I mean, just say love can solve a lot of problems. However, feeding top lane, maybe not one of them. Hey, if it could, then I'd be the best League of Legends player out there. All I'm trying to say is, top lane, we still have yet to see that impact on the game itself. Of course, we've seen a lot of other roams, specifically bottom lane, to just completely drive that one into the ground. And honestly, if you had told me beforehand what the matchups were, well, I guess somebody did tell me what the matchups were ahead of time, I would have actually expected Light Sludge and Daphne down there to actually be a big source of strength. Light Sludge, and if you guys have followed the competitive scene of League of Legends for a while, he used to be on the team with the best logo in the world, named Meat Playground.
Oh, yeah.
He was on there with a guy named, what was it? Was it Erwin Booz, the Janna God? But yeah, that was actually a combo that worked extremely well. But unfortunately, since then, it used to be a big Kog'Maw main back in the day. Since then, you know, things have, he's been going to school, obviously no longer in tip-top, you know, competitive shape back when, you know, he was right on top of the ladder. I think he actually hit rank 1, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had like a couple of different accounts up there, but maybe I'm thinking JRT. Either way, you get the idea. Very strong competitive player, but in this game just has not necessarily been showing up quite as well. And of course, Daphne down there with them, you know, bringing the Diamond 4 power. Braum sets up well for the combos, so definitely much stronger out of lane than in it.
Yeah, and it's really it's not taking nothing away from their skill, which actually we have quite a bit of attention up in this top lane. Teleport used. Ganked by Honey, he's looking for something for steal shots fired. I don't think he's going to get out. I think Pomona know what's going on. They're going to back up, be safe, and that's a very wise decision. On top of this, he's caught, though.
Oh, man. You can see how hesitant they are to go in on that, though. Although, there we go. Ganked by Honey. He's going to take most of his HP and damage right there. Almost dead just from that Azir damage 2-0 and the Nashor's Tooth Rush. Now, I don't see that all that often. Whoa, Axe Defender. That's what you call zoning, Fekes. When the rest of your team's behind you and you're just going in, hoping that there's enough pressure that you don't get turned on instantly.
I mean, well, you can see the language is kind of in the positioning of UCLA. Pomona know that they can just do that because they're backing up UCLA without even really engaging. And they're relying so much on this wombo combo on the side of UCLA that if one person doesn't pull the trigger, then nobody's going to pull the trigger. We kind of see that happening right now, and that cost them a turret in the top lane. And
to be fair, that was a good decision by UCLA to say, hey, look, you know, we're going to give up this turret, waste a little bit more of their time. Oh, man, Mookie's was going for it, but unfortunately nothing to be found out there. Like I said, good decision, just let the turret drop. Ganked by Honey's got chunks, so he could have, and a lot of like lower elo players will make this decision, say, hey, you know, I'm about to die, better just YOLO, go in, and then they lose the game because that was a terrible idea. This time around, even though Ganked by Honey's got a little bit caught out on Malphite there, decided to, hey, just get out, not go for it, let the turret drop, and then try for a better decision. Because fighting when you're this far behind, oftentimes not quite the best decision.
No, it's very well read by Pomona, too, because right whenever they saw the teleport, they backed up. They backed up so far that if Ganked by Honeys would have engaged, he would have been by himself for momentarily, and it wouldn't have been enough for a last breath to go dashing in from skill shots fired to really heal it. So it was very well read by Pomona, and now they're reaping the benefits. They're doing really well positioning themselves around the map. They're getting these wards down, 3 pink wards down by Pomona right now, and 4 pink wards actually. There's 1 in the Dragon Pit as well. The Dragon's going to be up in a minute 40, so that's going to stay there for as long as it needs to. And if anything, they can see if Daphne is going over to ward it himself, but
herself.
Herself. Yeah, sorry about that.
I was gonna say, you know, as far as names go, I'm gonna go in that direction. Stuntopolis, though, definitely a big player to watch. And in fact, if you guys once again have been following the League of Legends competitive scene, he's been around in the competitive scene for a while. He's on Call Gaming, which was always UCLA's sort of challenger team, and then had a brief stint on Next Gen Esports Mirage. But I think everybody really knows him as definitely one of the bigger up-and-coming players. I believe there was, you know, some interesting shenaniganry that went on with his play back in the day, or at least last season at ACS. So you're definitely going to be hearing and seeing more of this guy elsewhere when it comes to CSL. One of the better junglers out there, so excited to see him play here. Like I said, just a whole host of challenger talent. Jam Hearts and challenger Axe Defender, a guy that's been out there for basically forever. You might remember him from seeing him on Affinity Gaming way back in the day, and by that I mean about 8 months ago or something. But yeah, very well established in that role, and excited to see him come out here. He was sort of like the mini Shorter Ace back when, you know, that was a thing. But now that we're into this game, 22 minutes in, I don't think it takes an expert to see that UCLA is going to need a little bit of help coming back in this game.
Yeah, you can pile all the talent you want, but if you're against, you know, talent that's just doing better than you, then none of that history is going to matter at this point. Jam Hearts and, I should say. Gonna try to scout out some wards here. Dragon is up. We see UCLA making their way down there, but nice zoning coming off from the Dark Binding and just the Azir Sand Soldiers.
Man, ganked by Honey's B. Oh, there it is! The big wombo combo engaged. Super Mega Death Rocket comes in, takes down one. Axe Defender gets crit from the back line. Well, Ice Sludge gonna get exhausted, but he's gonna be able to find another kill. Going forward, not stopping. Daphne in the front lines lands that concussive blow, but in the end, after all that wombo combo, it's still only a 2 for 3, so even not that much of a victory. However, it is a victory nonetheless with Dragon, their first Dragon, going over to UCLA.
I would consider that a pretty decent victory because, yeah, they got the Dragon, but also, yeah, they got the wombo off and showed that even... Hold on. Wow, okay. Stuntopoulos.
Oh, wait, whoa, he's not done yet! Double kill! And that's an unofficial ace. Stuntopoulos. On top of that fight right there, people don't respect the Diana damage. And to be fair, he's actually completely stacked. When you look at how much gold there is, he is almost 2,000 gold ahead of everyone else on his team. So just let that stats speak for itself. He's also almost 1,000 gold, over 1,000 gold, over everyone on the opposing team. He's got almost 9,500 gold right now. So really, really cannot be understated how big Stuntopoulos is there. Double kill, definitely putting UCLA back in the game, 8-8.
Think about how he just walked over Pink Ward. And yeah, like you said, he's pretty huge right now. Let's look at the mid lane too, though. Shots fired, skill shots fired. To finish that Triforce, which has been a very popular build on Yasuo since the in the LCS. We saw Zion Spartan take out the Triforce Yasuo in the top lane and completely destroy my beloved Team Solo mid. Things happen. You know what? You earn it if you can build a Triforce on Yasuo and make it work, and it's been mainstay since then. And it works out very well because his Q does proc the on hit effect, I'm trying to say. So it's actually very powerful, especially when you have...
Oh man, knock up on Gank by Honey is up that Steel Tempest, but probably don't want to go in just yet. I like the Diana decision to go with that as the jungler, because you do get a knock up off Moonfall if you do opt for that as your engage. However, it's primarily going to be up to Ganked by Honeys. The other really cool thing as far as synergy goes is, you know, you have Malphite. He's going to be right in there in the front lines, getting that hard engage off. He's got an Abyssal Scepter, right? And double Abyssal Scepter compositions used to be super popular way back in the day. Used to be the items you went if you were going top lane are Abyssal Scepter, Sunfire Cape. And they were just incredibly strong. Now, things have been changed since then, but right now that's going to help not only the Malphite engage into Yasuo, who deals physical damage, won't benefit off of that, but when Diana jumps in, she too is going to get that aura, and of course also has an Abyssal of her own. So it's actually a really well thought out kind of team comp if you can sort of envision the perfect situation in your mind, but lane phase was not kind to it.
So I feel like UCLA is kind of putting Pomona on tilt with this recent team fights, because you can tell by little things, like we were talking about positioning and how scared UCLA was on the top lane just by that way of the positioning. Look at what happened in the Baron pit. 2 pink wards were laid, and those you're not supposed to waste pink wards like that. But 2 pink wards were placed by Pomona in the Baron pit. Kind of tells me like, hey, they might not be fully coordinated. Yeah, ex-Hax defender. Yeah. You need to be careful. It is a 4v5 right now, and they might want to take advantage of this one.
I feel like if your name is Hax Defender, you should be defending things, and not like, you know, 8 miles ahead of your team. Also, speaking of 8 miles ahead of your team, got to look towards bottom lane. Skill shots fired, working on that second tier turret, and that means that you have to defend with a big D there in the mid lane. Second tier turret not going to survive for much longer. Hax Defender going in, dunks on the Stuntopoulos. Immediate Zonya's taking up that damage pretty well. Here comes in the teleport from bottom lane. Yasuo looking for the engage, gets a huge last breath. Ganked by Honeys out there to the back, has a nice Emperor's Divide in front of him. Light Sludge forced to flash away, turns around for a crit, takes a little bit of a glitter lance, but he is out of there. The last surviving member of UCLA.
Yeah, that's what happens. You can just dive when it's 4v5 and you're this powerful. You can dive underneath the turret and make it successful. Now, that was a beautiful teleport, timed teleport Unstoppable Force, the last breath. It all seemed to flow so easily, but man, yeah, there's so much power on the side of Pomona right now.
It's like that girl that you date that
Tell me about a girl you dated.
Yeah, that is super attractive, but every day you go over to her house, she's like sitting on the couch watching TV, and you're like, hey, let's go do something. She's like, oh, I don't want to. And you're like, hey, let's go do it. And it looks pretty, but it doesn't really do a whole lot. That engage, one of the best chances they could get, but unfortunately not enough to bring them back into this game.
Yeah, not this time. And I do like the idea of the split push from Yasuo, because one thing a Triforce offers is a little bit better split push, because you get the proc on the Triforce to do extra damage to the turrets. You can spam Steel Tempest pretty easily. You just have to throw your Q out. It's on a relatively low cooldown as well, so you can actually do quite a bit of turret damage in a short amount of time. I just like that idea. He did get that bot lane inner turret as well, so it wasn't completely wasted by UCLA. They lost the team fight in the mid lane. They also lost an enemy lane turret, but they did get a slight consolation prize, so it's not completely hopeless for them. They are down 3k though. They're even in turrets, down 1 dragon, but like it's a little too early to say that 3k is a huge detriment. And
all right. And a couple of things to talk about. So that big push down mid, the big team fight that went so badly, all that Cal Poly got off of that was killing off a second-tier turret, which, on the other side, Skillshot's Fire actually took one while he was split pushing, so not really all that much loss. Of course, you can look at the gold count, and even after that rough early game, there's still only a couple thousand gold difference between both teams. Ganked by Honey's getting caught out again. Axe Defender very tanky, diving into the back lane, locks up Skillshot's Fire, but he's taking all that Jinx damage. He's gonna get that wild growth, but look at the all-in, the engage on the Jam Hearts, and he's down. A double kill there for Light Sludge. He's got the crits, the red buff slow on the Mookies. There's going to be a Glacial Fissure. No, it's actually not going to come out there. It's already used. Concussive Blows threatened Mookies there, slowing him out. But unfortunately, oh, it's on top of him. He wants to go in. He's going to go in. Force out the Emperor's Divide. Mookies is in there. Look at the immediate exhaust there on the Skillshot's Fire. He's going down. Stuntopolis though going back in. He's going to find one call. Kill gets the Zhonya's off just in time. And Daphne with the ace on a Cal Poly Pomona. Bringing it back for the first time this game. UCLA with a kill score lead.
Yeah, Stuntopolis showing his intestinal fortitude there, going in with barely any health, and now he's actually going to take Dragon.
Okay, Stuntopolis, here's how this works. You don't fight Dragon with no HP. Unfortunately for Dragon, though, Stuntopolis is actually just ridiculously strong and can do whatever he wants. Like killing Dragon by himself, 300 HP doesn't even matter. Stuntopolis locking down the second Dragon of the game for UCLA.
Yeah, so these team fights going exactly how UCLA wanted to play them. They picked this comp in order to team fight properly. And when you have somebody like Stuntopolis on Diana, even if you don't engage properly, you can have others engage. Even with the Glacial Fissure and Unstoppable Force, you can have those engages and then use your Crescent Strike and your Lunar Rush to clean up or dive farther into the back lines and bring everyone close to you with a Moonfall. It's actually a very nice team comp. They're playing it very well. And they're reaping the benefits right now. They're actually 2k up now. But the Baron is started by Pomona. I don't know. That's big words there.
Wait, okay, so there's this thing called Baron. It's a big objective, Fekez. You kind of want to control that. Teleport in. All right, so Baron on Cal Poly Pomona. But can they turn this one around? Gem Heart 10 already out of there. Ganked by Honeys misses his ult. There's no Malphite ult for this fight, but is the fight already over? Look at Light Sludge. He's critting him down from the back lines. Even with Emperor's Divide, I don't think he cares. There's a wall in front of him. That's a good place for Jinx to be. Now, Mookie's actually pretty strong, but so is Stuntopolis. He's an assassin. He wants to go in onto Mookie's. There he is. Going to shake down half his HP, and there's the last breath, aptly named. But Ganked by Honeys will finally go down at the same time. Light Sludge alive, Jam Hearts, and though the only one left alive there by Cal Poly Pomona. Damn it, I'm gonna get it one of these times. Why you gotta do it this way, Cal Poly? Cal Poly oh, I'm just gonna call him CPP. We're working on it one step at a time.
Axe Defender, okay, so they're getting good engages over on the side of Pomona, but they're not touching Light Sludge, and they are being destroyed. They cannot get to the back lines. Axe Defender keeps going into the middle of the team fight and not to the back lines. I don't know if anybody else can really follow him whenever he does that. They're relying on the Wild Growth Cataclysm combination, and it's not really working out. And Ganked by Honey is in the mid lane on Azir, is even saving his Emperor's Divide for whenever it does, almost for whenever it seems like whenever it doesn't work out, because he's not in a great position to use it offensively. So Light Sludge is just in the back lines, firing away, whether it be rockets in the, because the AoE has just been huge here, or just revving up a Gatling gun onto a single target Axe Defender. It doesn't matter to him. He's going to shoot whatever's in front of him because he's doing a ton of damage. 6, 2, and 5 has his last Whisper already. It's actually 3 items strong. Going for a Bloodthirster, he's only going to get stronger from here.
All right, well, talking about getting strong, we've got the double needlessly large rod build there for Stuntopolis for when one needlessly large rod isn't enough. So he's going to be skiing with those 5, 3, and 10. And geez, it doesn't get much scarier than that. You got an assassin jungle with, by the way, let's check out his AP levels, 463. So gotta give him a lot of credit for kind of shoring up the weak early game. Same situation for the Malphite version of Gank by Honeys up in the top lane. So got through the early game just barely, and now that we're starting to get later on, 32 minutes into the game, guys like Light Sludge finally starting to pull their weight. Did not have that great of an early game, and by that I mean they actually had a pretty terrible one. But now late game Shinx starting to kick into high gear.
Yeah, it looks like UCLA, or no, Pomona rather. They don't have Baron anymore. They're still trying to pressure turrets, and whenever they're grouped up in corridors like this, it's going to be hard for them because I mean UCLA, they have a really good engage coming out. But they're going to switch around. Oh, no, look at that. Jam Heart's End still has Baron. So very nicely played, actually. Split pushing into the mid lane.
Right.
Baron. Yeah, I didn't even see that.
These bindings from Listeria have actually been really crucial, and a lot of times they catch out Gank by Honeys before the Malphite gets a chance to engage. He also has an item that might just turn this game around in favor of CPP. Zeke's Harbinger to really just supercharge that late game Tristana, who theoretically should be the answer to Light Sludge, but it's all been about that positioning. He's been just perfectly right in the back line, able to get damage out but not be in a rough spot. Really, really great positioning by Light Sludge so far.
Yeah, and it's not just about him. His team has been done a very good job defending him as well. That's what Braum is so good for, throwing down the Glacial Fissure, pretty much halting anybody trying to get to the back lines of him. And with so much forceful engage coming out from the top lane and mid lane of UCLA, Daphne can just stick really close to Light Sludge and just be a big, huge protector for him. And that's essentially what Braum does in the first place. That's kind of his lore. It's kind of his thing. So playing to his lore very well and keeping Light Sludge alive, dishing out tons of damage, as Freak would say. And it's like trying to position around this dragon. It's going to be up in a minute. There's really no wards coming out, though, from either team. There's a couple of wards on the outskirts from UCLA, but I feel like Pomona, they're missing an opportunity here. They could be getting out some wards and maybe be able to contest the dragon.
Right. Ward coverage is going to be very important. You can just see for Cal Poly, they've got this semicircle ring of wards all the way through this upper jungle. Or lower jungle, rather. Upper jungle, completely devoid of wards. Right as I say that, I see two right there. But those are the only two wards. And they were actually hidden on the map by this red ward over there. So
yeah, Listeria was actually, while I was talking, was actually warding. It's like, oh, that's good. I'll just keep talking.
Throwing off some flair. Eventually, I dream of a future where not only pro teams have their own in-game flair that you can taunt your opponents with, but collegiate teams will have collegiate flair that they can show all their friends in games. Like if you go to the school, you're choosing, you've sent out your college applications, you're choosing which schools to go to, and one of the colleges allows you, if you go to that school, to have in-game League of Legends flair. Like that's the dream. We're about to see another dream out here in this fight. Hex Defender going over the wall. Scouted out there by the zap, thrown out by Light Sludge. Daphne trying to come around to lock him down, but it doesn't seem to be having a whole lot of luck with that, contrary to popular opinion.
Still such fire, going back to the split pushing. And this is one thing I haven't pointed out on Pomona. Pomona's school. They have a really huge turret siege, I should say. They have an Azir, and they have Tristana. Not to mention they do have Jarvan also to throw down the standard Demacia to speed up attack speed. A lot of pushing potential.
Lots of pushing potential, lots of team fight potential too, but now top lane, ganking the split pusher, skill shots fired. Nice wind wall. Julia Jim Hearts and can't really do anything. Mookie's also not really okay, just kidding. But they're gonna teleport in. Can they turn this one around? Gank by Honeys will finally go down, but Stuntopolis coming in to close the door. Knock up there by Daphne using Glacial Fissures all over Hack's Defender. Still looking for more. Hack's very tanky. He will be able to get out of there alive. Big crits coming in from Light Sludge, who does have that activated Zeke's on him. I believe it as actually technically pronounced Zekies, so if somebody else can show me a source that says otherwise, I'm gonna go with that. And if somebody else has an issue, you can tweet at CSLLOL with the correct pronunciation.
I always say Zeeks, but you and I always pronounce it.
Well, that's true. My default way to pronounce just about anything is to hear how Fekez pronounces it and then pronounce it the other way. So that's pretty much how we've been doing things.
All right. So about that team fight, Light Sludge again was on the back lines, not being touched. Listeria actually got a dark binding onto him, but there was no position from Gank by Honey to really get back in there and do anything about it. So Light Sludge once again able to fire off rocket after rocket after rocket. And despite that team fight, this is a very close game still. This gold is actually even now, and 5 turrets to 5. This is incredibly close. I don't feel like it's staying that way, but then again, in these team fights, usually 2 for 2 or 2 for 3 or something or other like that. We have another engage though.
All right, wow. Daphne, okay. Very low, gets destroyed before this fight even starts. 4v5, not great fights to fight. Knock up there by Wild Girl, but the all-in, the last breath, the wombo combo's good. We got Light Sludge push out damage from the backline. They is exhausted, but Gank by Honeys is just going to get crit down before he knows how to handle it. Hacks defender, the tankiest member, alive, not alive any longer. Jam Hearts and desperately glitter lancing his way to victory. It's like the entire team's dying around. He's like, I'm going to glitter lance these minions over here, okay? And then backs off to base. But in the end, beautiful team fight there. UCLA crushing it down and might just be able to win the game off of that, if not just take this inhibitor.
Yeah, and I was talking about the turret siege power of Pomona. And UCLA has a lot of it too. They have the Jinx, they have Triforce and Yasuo, and they do have Stuntopolis. Every third attack, you do get that Moon Blade from your auto attack from the Diana. So a lot of power going behind it.
It's the Moon
Baron, because I think they can.
Fekkas, it's the Moon Silver Blade.
Silver
when you like complete the epic quest in whatever MMO you play and you get your reward. Do you want a Moon Blade or a Moon Silver Blade? Like, I feel like one of those is like the gray items that nobody ever picks up, or and then the Moon Silver Blade is like the orange one that's all shiny and glowing, and you can sell on the internet for like $8,000.
I want the one that's worth more money, honestly. That's actually fun fact about me. I played Diablo for about 3 months, and I only did it to sell items until they got rid of the market.
Where's your love of the game, Fekkas?
Game was frustrating.
Literally killing esports.
This is an esport. Thank God it was an esport. So Baron Vision, big play right here. It's so interesting. Mookie's is actually off getting the red buff right now.
All right, I have some lore for you, Fekkas. This is actually IRL lore. So you know the item Zeki's Harbinger. So that's actually named after a character from the webcomic Control Alt Delete. You know what that character's name is? Ezekiel, and they call him Zeke for short, but it's actually Ezekiel, so it's actually Zeki's Harbinger. Just dropping that on you guys. Right as we see this Baron fight, Baron actually taken there by UCLA. CPP trying to find some way to fight there. Not going to go well for Axe Defender. Gank by Honey's going to get completely destroyed. Comboed out of existence by that last breath. Gank by Honey still going on the chase on Mookie's. They're just going to dive straight through this turret. And there it is. The flash, the dash, the peel, and there's Mookie's going down. Skill shots fired. Okay, gonna be trying to find this kill on the Listeria. Doesn't want to go under the turret, though. That's Daphne's job. She's taking it up from on top. Skill shots fire. No! He's gonna get outplayed. Underneath the turret, gets bound out. The turret taking him down. The Steel Tempest picks up 1 kill. And a TSM flare right as he falls. I feel like this is indicative of NA's performance at Worlds, but while we're watching that, the game's actually ending. And Stuntopolis and Light Sludge close out game number 1 for UCLA over Cal Poly Pomona. Crap. I knew I was going to get it right one of these times. Alright, well that's going to do it for game 1. Stick around for more mispronunciations of CPP's names and a whole lot of awesome League of Legends action. We'll have game number 2 coming your way when we return, so stick around and don't go anywhere. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to UCLA versus University of California. Cal Poly Pomona. I'm going to do that all day long, but welcome back. Here to pronounce their name correctly, Joshua Feckes Quest, my wonderfully amazing co-commentator.
Got that?
Man, today's a struggle, man. We got to get into champion select here.
No, it's always fun, whatever. Like, going into a conversation, I don't know what this guy's going to call me. It could be great. or it could be horrible. Gangplank and Rek'Sai banned out by UCLA. Elise and Diana being taken away from Stuntopolis this time around. Probably a wise choice. He was all over the place in the after the laning phase. He had a difficult time pulling a gank off before about 25 minutes. But afterward, after laning phase, he was on fire. Picked up kills pretty much in every team fight and was able to get into the back lines and destroy anybody what he wanted to.
And while usually being on fire is generally a bad thing, in this case, of course, pretty good. And Diana banned against Hax Defender, or not Hax Defender, against UCLA. There we go. Sorry, I had the team names completely changed up in my brain, so we're working on getting that sorted out. But yeah, as we go through picks and bans, what's the most surprising ban that you see here? Because to be fair, anytime that you have a player do very, very well, Stuntopolis on Diana, drawing that ban there. I don't know why I thought Hax Defender was on that team. I had them backwards in my mind. Yeah, so Stuntopolis crushed with Diana. Gonna see that ban. The Lulu ban, though, is more confusing to me because theoretically you play it and don't do well. It's not a very big threat, but still a big enough threat to ban it here. So a little bit of a misconception there, but could also possibly be because you don't want to let that into the hand of the top lane version of Ganked by Honeys.
Oh, also another time. Sometimes whenever you have a ban like that might be kind of out of left field, it's like, oh, well, you could have banned other things like a Darius. But by the way, Darius and Mordekaiser were all up last game. They weren't picked. And Fiora is left up this time as well. But when you have somebody like Lulu banned, it's usually either A, you don't want them in the hands of the enemy, or it fits into a certain team comp that you're going to not want to play against because of your team comp that you're picking. And we're going to have to see what Pomona they're going to be picking here. So far, they're not giving away too much. They're giving away their bot lane with the Jinx and the Morgana, but I don't think a Lulu ban merits those two yet.
Yeah, so it turns out red side teams are only allowed to play Jinx Morgana. Well, there you go. So. Well, the Morgana pick specifically worked out very, very well for Pomona. There we go. We're going to put a penny in the correct pronunciation jar over here. For CPP, the Morgana pick worked out really well because theoretically it's supposed to prevent the knockup, no resets, no big Malphite engages. Works really well like that. Unfortunately, it worked better in theory than it did in practice that last game. The Jinx pick, though, for Light Sludge, week early, really picked up steam later on, so trying to deny him that pick, but there's still a lot of other hyper carries. Back when he was playing competitively in tournaments like IPL on teams like Meat Playground, he's known as one of the better Kog'Maw players out there, so I'm excited to see him come back here and try to bust that out again. If that's the hyper carry he goes with, thinking about the Tristana, and there it goes, locked in. So same 80 carries, just swapping sides, or swapping teams. They're on the same sides too.
Now, whenever you have a Lulu ban, typically don't see anything like a Kog'Maw these days. You have to really protect a Kog'Maw because they're so immobile, and you have so many champions who can just dive into the back lines and destroy them and blow them up. You can pick a Janna, but it's still not enough. But yeah, Light Sludge, gonna go with the Tristana this time. So like you said, swapping champions. But I do like Daphne back on the Braum. I feel like he was very underestimated. She was very underestimated playing that Braum. As Braum was pretty pivotal. Got it. Pivotal in keeping Light Sludge alive. Odd pick here for me, Stuntopolis on Eve. There's no diving potential like you had on the Diana, so there's a little bit of a different mechanic here. But also going with the stealth mechanic that you might be able to help him get ganks off a little bit better than last game. Because like I said, laning phase was not UCLA's friend. It wasn't really, didn't really help them launch themselves into the mid game. The most they could do was keep from dying, but it was still kind of hit or miss. Stuntopolis had a hard time ganking, so I'm going to see how he does on the Eve. Meanwhile, though, do have...
Oh, we got that Bard hover.
Yeah, Bard hover, yeah. I don't know, we already have a Braum.
Yeah, I was going to say...
Somewhere else, I don't know.
I mean, I've seen my fair share of Braum being played in other roles. Turns out it doesn't quite work so well. I mean... Yeah, you definitely want to keep that in the support role. Bard, though, I've seen that played in other roles too, to much less success. It's being hovered over, but with 30 seconds to change it. It'll be interesting to see what's going to be picked up here. We need a top lane, we need a mid lane. It looks like Karthus already being thought about here. Malphite might just go back to the top lane again. There's the more confusing thing for me, at least, is to see the Pantheon pick. When's the last time you saw Pantheon played, Pekkas?
I was going to get to that one. It's been a while, been a good while, and Pantheon, he's relatively weak. He has to snowball. He's so reliant on snowballing. If he doesn't do that, it's going to be hard, but it does give Pomona some global pressure. It allows them to, I guess I should say, their jungler, Hax Defender, does allow them to, gank from the jungle. Doesn't have to show himself in order to really be effective, and he can be, I guess, around the map when he needs to with his Grand Skyfall. And that's saying that is going into the jungle. That honestly could be a top lane Pantheon, which, again, I haven't seen almost about as long as I haven't seen a jungle Pantheon.
All right, well, at least for right now, that is going to do it for every pick but our last one. It does look like I have a small score update to do. So while I am getting to that, what are your thoughts on this last pick? We got 15 seconds, Pekkas.
So yeah, last pick, like I said, could be a jungler, could be a top laner. Mundo hovered over. He just got a little bit of a buff, very nice buff actually, to his E. Resets his auto attack, but also does more damage the more health he has. So it's actually pretty powerful. And it looks like that is going to be a Mundo locked in. Again, a flex pick because there is a famous streamer, I forget who it is, honestly, been playing Mundo jungle. We'll see where he takes him. But in the mid lane, actually, you know what? Let's not even worry about it because the lobby has to get remade.
That's true. So we're going to take a second to get everybody back in here. Apparently there were some interesting situations. We're about to find out exactly what happened. Okay, so apparently there was a bug with the lobby, so we're going to go ahead and switch this back out and get everybody back into the lobby, hopefully. Same champion picks and bans, so I don't want to see anything different. We're going to see the same champions, because I already made all this nice, heartfelt, hard-thought analysis. And if they change everything up, then that's just going to not look so smart anymore. So we're going to keep things the way that they are, and looks like we are having some difficulties getting everybody back into the lobby, but have no fear. Here at the CSL, we accept nothing but all 5 players from both teams into the lobby before we play a game, because otherwise I'd have to play and nobody wants to see that. I think otherwise we'd make Pekkas play.
Oh yeah.
Definitely nobody wants to see that.
I can be quite entertaining. It's sometimes it's fun. That's why public executions were so entertaining. You get to see something you don't normally see, and that pretty much would be like.
All right, well, we are going to see round 2 of champion picks and bans here coming your way. Here we go. This should be the fastest pick and ban phase you've ever seen, just because everybody already knows what they're picking, what they're banning. Hopefully, if they ban champions they pick, then we're gonna have some issues. You don't have to wait through the full countdown timer to ban champions here.
I don't think I can hear you.
You can't hear me.
No. I'm talking about the players, not the chat. I'm talking about this.
I'm trying to give them a helpful suggestion.
Okay,
well, they banned LeBlanc at the last second.
LeBlanc wasn't picked. Maybe that's what they're going with. Collegiate players are kind of wily. They're like,
they're gonna ban like a Garen here for lag. LAX. There we go. Maybe that's
CLG.
Where they're.
Yeah, I was going over the CLG for over on.
I'm a big fan of CPP's CLG bans, kind of like OGN, but only for another year and a half.
Yeah, so we have to have the same picks. I swear, if they delay this any longer, because there's actually something very okay. There's a Maokai pick, which might have been what he meant to pick, and that might have been discussed. I think that might, because Maokai, Mundo is close to Maokai, but everything else is going the same. I'm assuming.
All right, let me. So we've got.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about how that changes things. The Maokai pick, Maokai. So you got these four challenger players, and they've got this 5th challenger top laner, but unfortunately gets sick and can't come to the tournament. But who does show up to their tournament is their little 5-year-old brother, and there's no one else that can play, so you have to put him up in the top lane. What champion do you pick for him? Maokai. Definitely.
That's true.
A very
sad.
a relatively straightforward champion. You build tank items, you twisted advance the A to carry and win. You prevent infinite amounts of damage to the rest of your team. That's kind of what you got going there for Jam Hearts.
Yeah, but man, that is such a mean way to say that.
All I'm trying to say is he's a relatively old school champion. You don't see too many Maokais out there anymore with the way that top lane is being played mostly by more aggressive picks nowadays. But in this situation, it's all going to be about the team fights here. And you see two big team fight top laners up there in Maokai and Malphite.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, the Maokai, all intents and purposes, he's not really picked that often. He was picked a very huge pick before the big juggernaut change in the top lane. And now, yeah, like you said, and also the Gangplank, he's not Gangplank's not a juggernaut. And also Fiora, who's also not a juggernaut. But like you said, a lot of more aggressive top laners coming out. Now, the one thing about that is that Malphite's been picked twice. Traditionally a pretty passive laner until you get to team fights, and then you just go all in and make the plays happen with your unstoppable force. So it's gonna be. I don't predict too much aggression in the top lane. Jam Hearts and more than likely can't bring down Gang Honey's Malphite. We saw Malphite last game do pretty well, even against a Lulu. I don't think you'll have too much of a problem against a Maokai. Now, on the team fight side of that, Maokai, not a bad pick into the Gangplank. Not the Gangplank, I'm not saying. The Maokai, not a bad pick into the Malphite and the Eve, because you have champions who want to try to dive you into the sneak up behind you or flank you as you do with Eve. And then you have the damage reduction from Maokai to help stop that. Looks like they're going to protect Mookie's a little bit better this time around. It's going to take a lot of coordination from Listeria and Jam Hearts in.
And that's really good what it's going to be about. You saw in last game, just so much protection for Light Sludge. You had walls in front of him, big engages for him to just sit back and dish out the damage. This time around, like you said, more protection for Mookie's. Hopefully going to have a little bit more impact in these fights. And if we're speaking about these fights, we can't watch them yet because we have to wait through a quick spectator delay before we get into the game. But while we do, you guys can vote on who you think is going to win tonight. It's going to be hashtag CLA or CPP. So go ahead and throw us your votes. We'll check those out when we get into the game. So stick around. We'll be right back with game number 2 between UCLA and Cal Poly Pomona. Another penny in the jar there. Of course, do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors Brain Gear, Twitch, and Alpha Draft for helping make CSL possible. So definitely support them for helping support us. Stick around. We'll be right back with game number 2. ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the CSL's 2015 Collegiate Esports season. My name is Reed Rapid Melton. Joining me once again is Joshua Fekez Quest, and of course all of you fine people, thanks for tuning in. Some of the finest collegiate esports this side of the Marianas Trench. I'm not sure which side we're on, but whatever side it is, it's got some good collegiate esports, Fekez.
I don't even know where that trench is at.
It's the Pacific Ocean, right?
I hope so for your sake.
I mean, I'm not trying to, grade you on your geography right now. Although I feel like since this is a collegiate broadcast, we should work in as many, oh man, the twisted advance goes the distance.
That's a long distance.
But that's actually, okay. So let's give a list of skills that you want to start the game with on Maokai. All right. It's going to include every skill with the exception of Twisted Advance, because that doesn't give you Arcane Smash's lane trade ability. It doesn't give you the Sapling's ability to set them up in brushes, check things out early on. Doesn't a lot of times one common strategy on Maokai is to set up your Saplings at a camp, get the minions from the camp, and then teleport top lane. Can't do that either. You can Twisted Advance a jungle camp and and then walk to top lane.
See what happens to you.
But yeah, really a big start to the game. Jamhart saying it's easy to sort of go for those clutch plays, but sometimes it doesn't actually have the best effect in the long run.
Yeah, a little trigger happy on that one, and I don't know where he could have got that. I mean, like Sledge though, to his credit, he started the rocket jump very late, so that was very good by him. And that's actually not a bad start by Tristana because you don't get the explosive shot. You're not going to harass at level 1 too much. The explosive shot is mostly your only harass ability from Tristana, but it also shoves the wave. So he's actually going to keep that wave even until he hits level 2 and takes that explosive shot. So that's actually not a bad start by Light Sludge. That's the good thing about Tristana. You can start that rocket jump and be fine. We do have some double jungle starting out here, and actually, Mook using Wisteria, taking up that Gromp. Going to hit level 2 a little bit early. Try to get the advantage over Light Sledge. Yeah, looks like both top laners are going to be double jungling, helping their junglers get those ganks a little bit faster, and I like that because especially on the side of Pomona, Hax Defender on that Pantheon, I feel like he's going to have a little bit of a hard time. And
oh man, bottom lane Wisteria is actually taking a lot of damage there with that explosive shots explosion. I got it.
Yeah, well, I was just saying, don't stand next to your ally when you have the bomb on your head. That stuff makes my heart race even in solo queue.
Yeah. I feel like if Zilean was like a more meta pick, people would know not to stand next to the bomb. Because now there's actually a lot of champions that do that. You've got Tristana, Zilean. I don't think Ziggs does it, but he definitely does have those. So after I did all that talking about how Twisted Advance is a bad skill to start with, it's level 2, so nobody really cares anymore. We're just going to see the most electrifying matchup in all of League of Legends. Maokai versus Malphite. A matchup in which nothing happens. So we'll be looking elsewhere around the map. Ganked by Honeys. Actually doing pretty well against skill shots fired. Of course, to give a quick reminder, Ganked by Honeys was on Azir last time, so now he's playing against the champion he played. I always feel like that's a little bit BM to say, hey, look, you played this champion, you lost, now it's my turn to play it and see if they can do a little bit better.
It's more like I always thought viewed as more of a showmanship. It's like, all right, now let me show you what I can do. And it's also, if you're just getting him playing that champion and then you play against him, it's also kind of a challenge because you more likely know how to play against him pretty easily. It's fresh off your mind. It's like, all right, well, this is on cooldown. This is how much damage this does. It can be taken as BM. I think it could also be taken as a showmanship, or sportsmanship, I should say, as well. I don't mind it so much.
All right, well, one of the things I do mind so much, or at least I'm going to be interested to see, is Hax Defender's Pantheon. Now, last game he played Jarvan, this time it's Pantheon. Relatively similar idea. Both of them have, the big jump into the fight ability and dish out your damage, but Pantheon is a much more damage focused, especially in the early game. Should still see him build tanky, but you're going to see that Warrior Enchant, you're going to see maybe another additional damage item, but definitely not a champion that you see all that often. Now here comes Stuntopolis, ganked by Honeys, can't quite get into range. Stunt's gonna be fighting up here, but he actually healed Maokai by ganking with that auto attack from the sap magic. So I'm not sure those are the kind of ganks I really want to see.
I don't think that's the ganks anyone on the side of UCLA wants to see. And this is kind of shades of last game. Stuntopolis, he had trouble ganking last game. He's on Eve. I mean, unless you get a champion that has a lot of CC, you're not really gonna do too much. Honestly, I don't know why he's in the top lane. It's an easy target, but then again, it's a hard target. And then you have no CC on the way by gank by Honey until level 6. And even then, you're going to waste your unstoppable force on the big tree. So it's very questionable why he even went up there. But
I'm watching this matchup.
Yeah,
Rock versus Paper, as previously coined by Mike in chat. So I'm liking at least the metaphor, but not really watching the excitement. Although directed camera thinks it's super exciting up there, guys. So
oh my gosh, because they're always bashing their heads.
It's true. It's like, oh my goodness, there's fight. Oh, just kidding.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, it's a robot. It doesn't know the difference between top laner and a mid laner. They just want to see action because robots are they're easily amused.
Yeah, easily amused robots. All right. I'm not sure what kind of robots you're making. Mine will have nothing but the highest of horizons.
What?
If you're easily amused, it doesn't take a lot to get your attention.
I guess not. I mean, we're still watching it, so
I'm still watching. I got it zoomed in. We got a front row seat to the biggest.
We have I was gonna say we had a level advantage for 2 seconds by gank by Honey. He's just gonna go farm. It doesn't matter. It's like, hey, all right, hit me. I got a flask. Just heal back up.
All right. Well, now that we're done watching the most exciting part of the game, we can watch more impactful trades. Light Sludge walking up there in the lane, but luckily the supports can spend all their time crowd controlling each other. AD carries should stay pretty safe for now. And actually, a remarkably safe game. Oh no, Binding, right as I say that, Daphne gonna be in a lot of trouble. Tries to dash to Light Sludge with sand behind me, but still gets locked up by those Flame Chompers and taken down to 300 HP.
That was a very nicely placed Flame Chompers. That's actually going to be huge because Mookie's almost level 6. I believe he's going to get there pretty soon. If Daphne keeps taking that kind of harassing, setting him up for a pretty easy Super Mega Death Rocket kill. So you need to be careful in the bot lane over on the side of UCLA. Not get too cocky. We have a gank in the mid lane though.
Axe Defender just putting out a little bit of damage. I don't think he's really going to commit to that given how close Azir was to his turret. And Azir was level 6, so there's always that sort of scoop, Shurima shuffle technique where you put the jungler underneath your turret and then that kind of feels bad, man. Are we fighting here or are we not? Who's going in? Shots fired. Definitely needs to get back to his turret. Suntopless showing up for the moral support as Gank by Honeys puts out his damage and puts skill shots fired back to base.
Yeah, so I mean, wasted ultimates in the mid lane. Gank by Honeys though getting the better of that trade. So actually, Sim skill shots fired back is gonna get a little bit of advantage. It's been pretty even in that mid lane, but now advantage is gonna go by to Gank by Honeys. Now let's talk about advantages in the top lane. I know it's been comical, but look at the CS difference. Actually, 10 in favor of Gank by Honeys. He's doing a good job just walking up, getting the farm he needs to, and not dying. And now he has the Bambi Cinder. He's going to be able to farm a little bit better, a little bit faster, and maybe try to counter the push that Jamheart's Ann is throwing at him because he finished up to his turret pretty much the entire laning phase. Looks like he's going to start shoving it back. But yeah, he's way ahead in CS in that top lane, despite how boring it is. There's strategic advantage being gained by Gank by Honeys on the side of UCLA.
All right, well now we've got a big turnaround as far as itemization goes. Gank by Honeys comes back to top lane with a Bami's Cinder, which while it may not look like it does a lot of damage, it basically means you can stand there and fight, and you've got this little Bami Cinder hitting there with you. So definitely helps him out. Makes sense. Fire versus trees. Very effective. Bottom lane though, Suntopless realizes he's been caught out. The jig is up, but walking into Flame Chompers. Probably not the best way to go. Top lane, though, we've got more action. Just kidding. Mid lane's where the action's at. Directed camera. Skill shots fired and Axe Defender trading out both their HP bars. But Axe Defender gets to go back into the jungle, and Gank by Honeys is left in a very strong position mid.
Yeah, that was a really nice Grand Skyfall. That was right in the face of skill shots fired. We have maybe an actual fight in the top lane.
I was going to say, Jamheart's Ann can't really play that matchup anymore. You can just see how effective that Bami Cinder is. Axe Defender and a little bit of rust on Suntopless. Getting taken out, trying to fight Axe Defender, but he's got friends.
Yeah, Axe Defender. Okay, so he's on Pantheon. So the lower the health you have, he'll start critting. And it takes a little bit. Eve is very squishy early on. Hasn't built that tanky, typical Eve yet. So he got that crit pretty early. It took, I think, maybe one Death Laser, Death Ray to do
Teleport coming down to the bottom lane for a reason that will be revealed. Right now, all in, double knockup. The dive behind the turret, putting him up against the wall. Mookie's will finally go down. Light Sludge grabbing that kill and a beautiful dive there. Where's the Black Shield there, Vekes?
It wasn't on. It wasn't on either of them. I know that. Don't ask me. It wasn't there. But yeah, very nicely played. He knew he could dive that. He had the turret shoved up in the top lane. Ganked by Honeys. Very nice use of the teleport. He didn't even need to hide it. He could just like, all right, you guys are gonna hide our turret. Fine, I'll just go and dive under it because he has armor. And naturally, as a Malphite, why not just dive it? They were low enough health. Easy to finish them off. Listeria and Mookie's going down, and UCLA, they're off to a good start so far.
Yeah, good start, and 9-day difference between this game and game number 1. In game 1, we saw a very weak early game. I think it was 6-1 by this point in game number 1 for UCLA. CPP on top of things early, but then dropped it later on. This time, UCLA is getting a great start to the game. We'll see if maybe it's CPP's turn to come back.
Yeah, they definitely have a better laning phase than last game. Suntopoulos still kind of questionable in his ganks. He hasn't really had any effectiveness at all. Actually died once so far. So status quo there, but very nicely played by Ganked by Honeys in top lane, saving up the laning phase this time around. But yeah. Oh, Suntopoulos.
Oh man, he's gonna die. Okay, Listeria giving it to him when he goes into the jungle. Stunt going down for the 2nd time in a row. Last time in the enemy jungle, this time in his. Skill shots fired. Getting fired from the mid lane by a lot of damage from Victor, who's let's see what the build path is here. It looks like he's gonna go
Skyfall.
Yeah, but where is it gonna come down? Right on top of him, underneath the turret. I didn't even see where that was going down, but we're gonna get a quick instant. Okay, so Daphne's gonna come in here and defend this turret. While that turret falls, we do have Light Sludge coming up here. I actually just want to get a quick instant replay. Okay, there we go. We can see it one more time. And now we're jumping back to live. Just had to make sure that was caught on camera. Nice dive there by Hack's Defender. Kind of catches skill shots fired looking. Maybe he was going for some shopping action there.
It happens to the best of us. So yeah, it's starting to shape up again, similar to the last game. Pomona, they do so far have a little bit stronger laning phase. Specifically, also, they have a better jungle awareness as far as where to gank, when to gank. As Max Defender, he's been making himself felt on the map so far for his team, and Suntopoulos again.
Ganked by Honey's like guarding this enemy turret, just making sure it denies as much CS as possible. Yeah. So when Jamheart's Ann comes back, he's actually now down, what is that, 35 CS? That's a pretty big difference for as far as top laners go, especially when they're just tanks and theoretically should be relatively safe from each other. That Sunfire Cape just making all the difference in that matchup.
Yeah, now he has a
Daphne eating this crowd control. Suntopoulos is gonna reveal the jig is up, but here comes Ganked by Honey. Counter ganks on both sides. How can you counter gank a counter gank? I don't know about that. Suntopoulos trying to run out of the fight. The Dark Binding lands. Ganked by Honeys. The Super Mega Death Rocket Mookies. Putting down the damage, picking himself up a kill. There is a lot of damage on a Victor though, but now down. But look at the gravity field. Locks down not one, but two. Now Daphne, the next casualty of war. Mookies, no mercy. Grabs himself his 2nd kill of the game.
That was an extremely nice roam by Ganked by Honeys. Got in behind Light Sludge and Daphne. And Suntopoulos, again, he's not positioning himself well enough so far. He's not taking advantage of that stealth. And, I mean, he's trying. It's just not working out so far for him.
Look at Ganked by Honeys. He's killing Maokai by walking next to him. Because when neither player deals more damage... okay. Oh, man, the follow-up. He is going to go for the kill here on Maokai. In a matchup that is usually just 2 tanks hitting each other over and over again, we're going to see the Wheel of Fortune come out, and there's the kill. Ganked by Honeys in the longest 1v1 of all time.
Yeah, and Hack's Defender, he was in that area, but not really in the... position to do so. His health bar was pretty low. Very nicely played by Ganked by Honeys. He knows his Malphite very well. He knows the damage potential of it. He did very well against a Lulu last game. A Malphite should not do that well against Lulu. He's doing even better against a Maokai this time around. 30 CS up, 2 kills up, has an assist as well. Very nicely played by him, and just completely shut it out. Also has a turret up the top lane, so he needs to start roaming at this point because his other lanes are having a little bit of trouble. Skill shots fired. He's ahead in CS, but not keeping up with the kill ratio, the KDA of Ganked by Honeys in the mid lane. So, Ganked by Honeys in the over on the side of UCLA needs to start maybe roaming a little bit, taking advantage of that teleport, get someone stopped before, so like he did earlier in the game.
All right, well, so far, Ganked by Honey's forces have been unstoppable, 2-0-1 in that matchup. And while you may say, but Rapid, Paper is supposed to beat rock, but it's actually fire beating plant here. If you want to go with the Pokemon type analogies there, so.
He's got the sunflower kick.
That is true. That's true. You want to play Brand top lane, instant victory. Just kidding. Never do that. I mean, I think that's not terrible, right?
Yeah, I actually do play Brand top lane. It's quite comical because people don't like it. I mean, there's a point where your enemy tank will outscale you as far as usefulness as tanking up turrets. But as long as you have another tank on the side of Brand, you're all good. I actually do it quite a bit because it's funny.
Just watching that top lane 1v1, absolutely hilarious. So he's getting Dragon. This is going to be the first Dragon of the game. That'll be taken down by CPP. Putting themselves into a decent spot once again, but only 1,000 gold advantage. Not really that much to talk about there. So both teams just taking some time powering up. But in the end, what's going to happen after this lane phase ends? You're going to start to get into team fights. That's where Malphite starts to get really, really huge. You've got a big slow from Stuntopolis to maybe make his job a little bit earlier. And you still have Daphne on that Braum support. Did a great job last game going for Glacial Fissure engages. See how well that works out here.
I like the team fight from UCLA because it only takes one good unstoppable force flanked by an Agony's Embrace from Stuntopolis. Stuntopolis, he's not completely useless yet. He's pretty far down, but he'll get a huge shield with his Agony's Embrace. He'll be able to get into the backline, do quite a bit of damage. Maybe, actually, he's actually not that powerful for damage, but he will be able to get a nice slow CC and allow Light Sludge and Skillshot's Fire to dish out.
Call the minion rights activists right here. Oh no, they're all gonna die! Lots of minions being farmed down bottom lane, but one of the biggest difference while we're watching the AD carries farm this game is actually not in that role. It's in the jungle. Stuntopolis crushed on Diana last game, but now he's actually he's actually the one being crushed. 0-3, a very different jungle situation here between games 1 and 2.
Yeah, and I want to stress after laning phase because he picked it up after laning phase. He didn't have a great early jungle game either. He's having a little bit of a worse one than this one, but he's on a different kind of champion than Eve. He's having trouble positioning. He had a Lunar Rush last time where he could just dive and make it a little bit more unpredictable where he was going to be at.
Right.
So,
Evelyn, been around since season 1 when gap closers really weren't that weren't that prevalent.
He had like Warwick ult.
That's true. It's like, I'm going to Warwick ult you as my ultimate ability, so I can only do it once. And while, yeah, the gap closer from Diana is also an ult, slightly different, much lower cooldown. So you can see Stuntopolis actually walked away from the red buff. It reset because he lost patience, and now Jam Hearts and trying to bust up Daphne over here. Stuntopolis over there as well, but the big engage right on the gank by Honeys. He's finding himself, but he's actually dropping down very, very low. Stuntopolis coming in, trying to turn things around. Daphne takes that Super Mega Death Rocket right to the face. Dark Bindings coming in. Daphne finally falls. Light Sludge there with a lot of damage, but not a lot of team fight in front of him, so won't go diving into that. And in the end, it's actually a 1-for-1 exchange. Both top laners going in, being taken down very low, but it's the support and jungle that wind up dying.
Yeah, support and jungle, but that does mean the mid lane is going to be a little bit exposed. Mookie's on that Jinx. He has quite a bit of damage already in his... Oh wait, no, that's the Azir turret. Never mind, disregard what I was saying. Anyways, that still is a win for, a decent win for UCLA. Jungler for support, I'd rather take down the jungler. And yeah, if a gank by Honeys were backed up by his team a little bit more, a little earlier, he went in prematurely. That would have been very good for UCLA, I believe. Stuntopolis did a great job positioning himself, actually got a kill on that. So I expect him to start doing that a little bit more because the same thing that happened last time. It's going to be pretty good whenever he starts rolling and the entirety of UCLA's team starts fighting as a team.
Okay, well, a little bit of a lull in the action, kind of trying to take a little bit of a breather, catch your breath, skanked by Honeys. He's not taking a break at all. Clocking in for the 10-hour shifts. He's 2-0-2 again on Malphite. Really, really consistent play. And he's even building not just for the 1v1 matchup. He's been given this Maokai, who, while, yes, fairly, it's ridiculously tanky in its own right, doesn't do well against this infinitely persistent damage from Sunfire Cave. As long as you're alive, you're going to be taking that damage. Now, Axe Defender here wanted to counter gank this, but does he actually have the damage he needs? Kickbounty's just sitting there taking rockets because he just doesn't care. Zap lands, and Axe Defender, he's standing on a ward 1, but even if he were to go in on that, I don't really think there's too much pressure, and of course, Gank by Honeys wouldn't be that far forward if he didn't have the rest of his team along with him.
Yeah, and this is actually, there's a very low point right now. Dragon is going to be up in a minute 30, and no team is prioritizing it right now with Vision. The only wards you see down there are close to the Baron Pit from UCLA. Surprised we don't see more wards coming out. There's a ping finally coming out, and I believe this, no, the Rift Scubbler is actually up too. So here comes Great Skyfall, though. We're going to get a team fight.
Oh, man, right on top of Daphne, skill shots fired. Nice disengage there by Daphne with that Glacial Fissure to push Hack's Defender back. But here comes Gank by Honey, though he's in the middle of a 1v4. Will have to ult himself out, but no, he ults himself back in. He wants some follow-up, but he's not going to get it. And Gank by Honeys will kill Gank by Honeys. As funny as that sounds, a win there for CPP.
And that's the advantage of running the Pantheon. You can turn a 3v4 or 3v3 into a 4v4, or 4v3 instantly with your Grand Skyfall. And he's been doing that very well so far. Taking advantage of the positioning around the map, because nobody was really in position for that fight on side of UCLA. And yeah, even Pomona actually was a little bit out of position, but they, I mean, obviously they have communication. They got in range just in time to follow up on it. And that may be a Dragon. That's not even going to be Dragon. It was just a team fight that outright won. So they didn't really get anything off of it besides a kill. And it does, it's going to get them a little bit more in the goal lead as well. But Dragon is going to be up in a minute, not even a minute. It's going to be up in 15 seconds. And finally some more coverage from both sides.
Yeah, definitely a good time to put it down. Man, I don't really know how to call this because you've seen both teams win team fights. But as far as objective control goes, you got to give it to CPP. They've pushed down 3 turrets to only 1, and now that all the outer turrets are taken care of, if you're UCLA, you have a lot further away from your turrets to run to this Dragon. So team fights start breaking out here. It's going to be really interesting, at least to me. There's no Yasuo follow-up for the Maokai this time. We'll see if this is big enough. Gank by Honey's getting in range. Does not have ultimate up just yet. It's up in about 5 seconds. The Dragon's going to go down as Hack's Defender that secures it. Jumping on in. Suntopolis dies instantly. Gank by Honey's the Malphite actually very, very low. Out of the fight. Nice Emperor's Divide. The jump away. Good for Light Sludge. But the Zap's going to follow him. Triple kill. There by Gank by Honey's the victor this time. Skill shots fire trying to make his way away from the fight. Zap does land. So they're heal Mookie on a killing spree with his 3rd kill of the game.
Yeah, Mookie's on this Jinx doing an incredible job, similar to how Light Sludge was. It wasn't really touched in that fight, doing a great job staying in the back lines, taking advantage of Jinx's kit, firing from far away, even getting the zap whenever it counts, doing a great job. That's going to be a pretty easy Baron for Pomona. There's really nothing that UCLA can take from this because no one's in position for it to try to counter it, and they don't have any waves really in their favor either. Great play by Pomona, get the Baron, got the Dragon, and now they have control of this game pretty heavily. 6k gold up and 2 turrets up as well.
Alright, well, Gank by Honeys is at least going to find Hack's Defender, force a flash there. Man, this guy's doing the utmost. He's like, well, I can't stop the Baron, but he's still forcing flashes when his team is this far behind. How far is this far? 6.2 thousand gold.
Yeah, and this, I like what he's doing. So he's not winning team fights, but he's making sure nothing is given away for free. He's making sure there's something taken, a flash, even if it's something as little as a flash. Which I mean, and you know, it's not really little, but whenever you just got a Dragon, a Baron taken, I mean, it's kind of a consolation prize at this point, or like it's more like a 10th place prize at this point. But he's doing his damnedest to just make sure everything costs something, regardless of what it is.
Going in mid lane, skill shots fired, taking a lot of damage. That Chaos Storm,
oh gosh,
it's still chasing.
Yeah,
definitely needs to run away from that. Gank by Honeys does not have his fully augmented Chaos Storm yet. He's only got Mark II Hex score, but oh man, Daphne walking into all of that damage takes CC right to the face, but it's Braum, so you know he's pretty tanky. Had that Unbreakable up there as well to block out a little bit of that damage.
Yeah, and the wave clear is going to be reduced immensely by UCLA with this Baron on Pomona. So this is a really good position for them. They're just going to get into this Baron, and even if get into this turret, even if they don't can't siege a turret in one wave, Mookie's on Jinx can take it down to about half health pretty easily by herself with just one wave.
Oh man, Light Sludge needs to piece this scene.
Oh,
Here
yeah.
comes the Pantheon, jumping down. Could have jumped in onto the Stuntopolis, but oh, there's Malphite right onto Listeria, Axe Defender. Listeria dies immediately, but look at that gravity field completely zoning out that entire area. Ganked by Honey's a little bit of damage, a lot of damage there. Daphne, very, very low. Daphne, dead. Mookie's rampaging through the entire UCLA lineup. Skillshot Spire jumps in, Stuntopolis goes down, and Ganked by Honey's the victor, and Axe Defender both still alive, but are they going to continue this push? The laser comes down. No, it's not Lux, it's the Victor damage there. Not one kill, but two. Ganked by Honey's putting it down 9, 1, and 6. The carry Victor score.
I was gonna say that was actually in the favor of UCLA because they were able to get the Baron buffs off of 3 members of Pomona, but stayed around a little too long, got caught by lasers, and looks like Light Sludge might be getting caught. Oh, Light Sludge got this.
Alright, well, Ganked by Honey's definitely got this. Nice dodge there. Wow. Beautiful avoidance of that Winter's Bite. Dealing 304 damage that he didn't take right there. I actually didn't realize Winter's Bite scaled off of percent max HP.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. He's got 54 bonus damage from that. Daphne doing a good job as far as the team fight support. Hey, I'm going to land my moves. But when your whole team's losing, it's difficult to stay alive as a support, and that's the struggle that she's been feeling there. Also, 0-3, the score by skill shots fired. Game number 1, his Yasuo had great opportunities to split push, to 1v1, to have big team fights, but this game, not quite that same situation.
Yeah, and you can split push as a Nazir, but it's not near as effective. You don't have as many tools to get away, and you're not as resilient either. You get caught with as a Nazir, you're just outright caught. You do have a little Shurima shuffle, but it's usually not enough whenever you're caught. And yeah, it doesn't. I mean, the only thing he really has to push turrets are his Sand Soldiers, but he kind of needs those whenever he's split pushing. When you're this far down, because you get caught, you need Sand Soldiers to try to Shurima shuffle toward, but if he uses them on a turret, he won't have them. Dragon is going to be up in 1 minute and 10 seconds. Pretty sure Pomona is in the position just to outright take it. I don't think UCLA, they have to really force a fight in order to try to take that dragon, or at least maybe even take the fight. I don't even think they're going to go for a dragon anymore. I think they're just going to try to force a fight and take it, because the only thing they have to offer right now is a 5v5 fight. They're actually losing them, but they still have a decent wombo combo. We saw it down in the bot side jungle, even with the Baron buff on Pomona. UCLA, they still got a decent team fight. Just kind of after the team fight, Ganked by Honey sort of cleaned up whenever taking advantage of the small mistakes of UCLA sticking around.
Dragon up in 30 seconds, and it looks like CPP definitely in position to take it down. Unfortunately, it's not up quite yet, so they will have to find some time to occupy themselves in the meantime. But while Axe Defender, as the jungler is bottom lane, there's no Smite presence top lane. That's where Stuntopolis is. He's got top in his name, so makes a little bit of sense. Maokai very, very tanky, though.
You do this,
so I'm not sure why this is so important to winning the game here. Now, Jamheart's Ant will probably die here, but it will take a long time, and it'll also give away this dragon over to CPP. They're actually just going to ditch Axe Defender, leave him in the dragon pit, and just go straight all in for this bottom turret. Pushing in, they do have a minion wave there, so this should be a... Actually, wait, what? Okay, they just left Axe Defender to do Dragon by himself. Pantheon, one of these worst Dragoners in the game. It used to be one of the best Dragoners in the game. You saw all those, level 1 Pantheon soloing Dragon kind of videos. But now they changed it to where Dragon's auto attack is a spell, not an auto attack. So it's not blocked by Pantheon's Aegis of Zeonia. Does actually make Nocturne a really good Dragoner, because you can get the benefit from spell shielding Dragon's attack, and it gives you bonus bonus attack speed. So.
Yeah, I mean, ups and downs. Right now, though, it doesn't even matter what kind of jungler he is, because his team's in complete control of this game. And I don't understand why Stuntopolis. I guess they don't want to look for team fight. They just want to defend right now. UCLA, that's really they have to go for a team fight at some time, because sooner or later, Pomona, they're going to either take this Baron in 30 seconds, or they're going to start shoving into a turret, an inhibitor turret. Suntopolis showing himself top lane was completely senseless. Yeah, you got to kill on Jamheart's Ann, but now what? And that all they did was give away Dragon for essentially nothing. Like I said, Jamheart's Ann did go down, but it took 2 to do that, and one of them was a jungler. So no chance of a Dragon steal, but it looks like Baron is being set up now by both sides. I'm gonna throw out some wards.
I don't know by both sides. This is pretty much CPP all over this Baron area.
Oh, they're all over. I mean, but you see some grouping by UCLA.
Yeah, they're grouping, but I don't know if there's much
go.
ward coverage. Daphne takes a bunch of CC, but is still leading the charge. Actually, no, Light Sludge is leading the charge. Probably don't want that to happen. But here comes, okay, Jamheart's Ann gonna go ahead, drop that Righteous Glory right on to Daphne. Daphne taking a lot of damage, actually gonna be the first one to fall. But look at that Malphite right on the back line. Listeria, ganked by Honeys. They're both down. Actually, Listeria finally gonna fall there. Suntopolis, no, can't get it. Yes, the last spikes will take it down. A triple kill though for Mookie's. He's got more damage to put out. The flash forward. He gets 1 crit. He gets a second. It's a pentakill for Mookie's, carrying Cal Poly Pomona to not only an ace, but possibly even the game.
Yeah, this is a best of 3. Let's keep that in mind. And Pomona doing very well at answering back from game number 1, even using the kind of off-meta pick, Pantheon pick in the jungle. Mookie's doing huge amounts of work, but also as well as ganked by Honeys in the mid lane, both 9-2 in their own right. But Mookie's with a pentakill. That's not, you know, a pentakill. Not only do you, of course, you get the clean ace, or the ace off your team, but it completely demoralizes your enemy team as well. So Baron wasn't even taken in that fight. He did to get the mid lane hitter, and they could just swing back around Baron no problem, because that was about the best positioning that Suntopolis could have got in the back lines. Wasn't able to capitalize on it, and Mookie's just ran all over them, still not being touched in that fight.
Mookie's, really, if I had, you know, swapped the scoreboard and put opposite teams' names on each side, this game would actually look pretty similar when it comes to late game. Last game, it was Light Sludge, whose positioning as the game drew later and later on was just immaculate. Way back in the back behind his big wall in front of him, putting out tons of damage. This fight, same thing for Mookie's. He's got a big tank line in front of him, and he's just kiting backwards absolutely beautifully. So, really impressed there. Pentakill, also impressive. Now 9-2. Definitely trying to compete with ganked by Honeys, the victor player, for that score.
Yeah, they're both doing fantastic right now, and Jamheart's Ann doing their job. Everyone on Pomona doing what they're supposed to be doing. Even the Pantheon didn't quite get the snowball that a Pantheon does. And of course, you do get a snowball on Pantheon. You build straight offensive. You just destroy everybody that walks into your face. He didn't get that, so he's building kind of off tanky, doing a great job at it. I like that build. I like the adaptation to how the game's going. And now, Pomona, with this lead, they're just going to set up Baron. They're going to take this pretty easily, unless there's a miraculous steal from Suntopolis, but he doesn't have flash to really get in there deep. And Baron's already started. It's going down fast.
Ganked by Honeys, Malphite is in the mid lane, so theoretically this shouldn't be a fight that UCLA want to take. They were in the area, I'm not really sure why. They walked up and now walked back. It's pretty much just Ganked by Honeys trying to push this wave of super minions back in the mid lane. Fekez, what do you do? If you're in this position by UCLA, they were able to come back game number 1, but not looking so hot so far.
We look forward to game number 3. You last as long as you possibly can. Just try to pick up something, plan for the next game, because this game is essentially done. Unless something really huge happens that just completely throws the game for Pomona.
Ganked by Honey, he's going to be taking a lot of damage. He's sustaining through it with a lot of tank stats, but is this enough to push back the onslaught? CPP pushing in. Ganked by Honey's got some laser poke. The super minion or the cannon minion, empowered by Baron Nashor, still putting out damage at long range, but we'll see. This turret can survive down to half HP right now. And push continues for Cal Poly Pomona.
Yeah, and they're just going to keep it up because there's not that much wave clear that can really damage these empowered minions. And they're going to get the mid lane, or the top lane inhibitor turret, no problem. Here comes the
going for the dive. Daphne, the first one to fall. Ganked by Honey. He's thinking about the engagement. Needs to wait for the group up here. Wants to look for an opportunity, but does have ult. He's going to die without ulting. Oh my gosh, Malphite. Not in a great spot. That crit on the Light Sludge puts him all the way back in the fountain. And with 2 lanes of super minions crushing in, and 1 Pantheon ult as a bonus, both Nexus turrets will fall. And CPP have taken out UCLA, or at least they will. Here narrowly bringing them back in the series and setting the series score at 1-1.
Yeah, like I said, that's pretty much all you can do. Just plan when you're that far behind. Plan for the next game. Know that you're in a best of 3. Do try to pick up, change up your pick and ban, and just go from there. Make the game last as long as possible, so you can strategize for as long as possible. So good game to Pomona. They're going to go to a game number 3.
All right, while these teams are strategizing, we are going to take a quick break, so don't go anywhere. Stick around. We'll be right back with game number 2 between UCLA and Cal Poly. Here we go. Pomona. Got it. All right, see you guys in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Yes, you've had it quite tough, always having bad luck. You think you're going crazy, look up, there's a new life waiting. Your head's buried in the sand, you've been dealt the wrong hand. Can't imagine how you feel, only you know that it's real. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on. Because you are stronger. Yes, you are stronger. Because you are stronger. Yes, you are stronger. Yes, you've had it quite tough, always having bad luck. You think you're going crazy, look up, there's a new life waiting. Your head's buried in the sand, you've been dealt the wrong hand. Can't imagine how you feel, only you know that it's real. Don't look back, just carry on, carry on, carry on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Don't look back. Let's look forward to game number 3. Final game of this best of 3 series between University of California, Los Angeles, better known as UCLA, and Cal Poly Pomona. I just read that off the screen. So let's go ahead and get into picks and bans for game number 3. I remembered it that time. And here we go. We got swapping things right back over to the other side is Cal Poly Pomona. They are, of course, starting now back in the blues. I'll move the scorinos around there. 1-1 tie score, and who's going to take this one, Fekez?
Well, I don't know. I'm not a freaking an oracle. I don't know, man. It was close in both games. So the first game, actually both games, they were close in the laning phase, and then one team just snowballed during the mid game. So it's definitely going to be up to that laning phase. Now the difference between the first game and the second game, yeah, Santopolis had a bad time ganking in both games in the early going, but in the first game he had Diana, which is a little bit more mobile, able to get the Lunar Rush and make more effective, make more use of that, and able to burst somebody down. It also worked out very well with the Yasuo on their team. Now Yasuo was a big factor in that first game as well, because there was so much setup for his ultimate, and allowed, I think, 3 members of the UCLA to just dive into the backlines if they wanted to of Pomona. But yeah, second game, there was no Yasuo. They used Azir instead, but he just could not get any Sand Soldiers to where positioned to where they would be most effective. So definitely team comps coming out there.
Yeah, a lot of synergy there, I think, in the end. And a big contested picks on both sides of the series have been Jinx and Morgana. We saw Morgana hovered over it, but now Santopolis, he's cycling through some other champions, maybe having some second thoughts about that one. For Daphne, her main pick has been Braum, so maybe looking to see that one locked in again, although I think the bigger thought here is, hey, do we want to pick Braum because we are strong with it, or pick Morgana so that we can take that away from Listeria?
Yeah, and Morgana has been pretty huge in all of these games, but so has the Jinx. The Jinx also 100% win rate in this best of three so far. It was switched over from game number one to game number two between the teams, and Jinx has been coming up pretty huge. A Light Sludge on Vayne, I really like that because we saw how mechanically inclined Light Sludge was in the first game on the Jinx, and putting him on a Vayne, it's going to be harder to lock him down. It's also going to display what kind of skill he really has, and I really like that. It's going to be it was a very entertaining team fights.
Yeah, Vayne, not in his top four most played champions, so definitely not nowhere near his Jinx level just yet, but still one of his better AD carries, and currently, big mismatch between Jinx and Vayne, though. Jinx has, very long rockets, a lot of AoE. Vayne is all about, getting up close to personal and, chunking a single target down. Maybe a slight mismatch in lane. We'll definitely have to keep an eye out on that. With Morgana, maybe makes Vayne a little bit easy to carry with later on, avoiding crowd control, but not really going to help when you're just getting punched by a rocket in the face.
Oh, yeah, man. There's no crowd control for a rocket in the face, so we've proven that plenty of times. Listeria, though, going with the Nami. And you asked me when the last time you saw Pantheon, which was last game, and we're going to see it this game, too. When was the last time you saw a Nami Rapid? It's been a while for me.
Yeah, Nami, kind of the reason that Sona went out of favor. It's less about sustaining during the lane phase. Sustain is a great stat early. It's one of the best stats to have in game early on, but it becomes more and more useless as the game draws on because it's all about, actually fighting. And over the course of fights, your just sustain doesn't necessarily matter all that much. So Nami picked because she can sustain, but her engage, she's not going to be able to survive as long in fights as, something like a Braum. She doesn't have the, the big, I want to stay in this fight like Morgana when you have your ult tethers on people. But we'll be able to get some big knockups for the engage. So this may set up for Yasuo if now it's, UCLA that want to go for it.
Now, on the other side, Jarvan being locked in, and I do like that pick as well. Jarvan combined with Rumble, keep people in the Cataclysm, throw down the Equalizer, burns them up quite fast, and sticks them in for most of the duration of that Rumble ult. Now, also, for Vayne, it gives her an extra wall to condemn people into, which is very handy when you don't have a wall close or you're just out of range. When there's a Cataclysm wall up there, just use that, you're good to go. Now, on the other side, yeah, okay, so Pantheon locked in. It's going to go to Hack's Defender again. He did good on him, but I don't know. I don't think at least is banned out. Rek'Sai's banned out. There's plenty of other junglers. Gragas is available. Easily, in my opinion, better than Pantheon, but he feels like it's a comfort pick. He's going to go with it again and try to show as much map presence in this game, the third game of the best of three, as he did in that second game. And, if it's a cover pick, you're going to do better on him no matter what. Jamheart's in, hovering over the Mundo, who I do like. I mentioned it last game, or last champion select. Mundo, he got a nice auto attack buff to his E. I like it. It's an auto attack reset. It gives him a lot more damage up front and also keeps that the extra damage steroid afterward. So the first auto attack after an E, it's an empowered auto attack, does % health damage, empowers it based on how much health he has. I think it's like 5% of his health, which is quite significant for a Mundo, because that's all you do is stack health.
Yeah, for Dr. Mundo, that's an interesting pick to see here, and you're seeing a general trend. It's like, hey, we're going to run tanks in top lane, but why you would pick Dr. Mundo into a Rumble? Like, Rumble eats tanks for breakfast top lane, especially ones that just want to stack health. So you got something like Tom Kench, like Dr. Mundo, anything that just wants to build health early, it's not going to do too well versus Rumble, who just really demands that you be able to pick up that early magic resistance. So look for a Spectre's Cowl. That's going to be the big power item for Jamhearts, but it's at least going to be equally interesting to see how that plays against Gank by Honeys, who showed great Malphite play, but decided to switch things up into a Rumble this time. And the last final pick is a Veigar! Oh. Big switch there from Ahri to Veigar. One of the stronger champions, but definitely niche. Has some issues like the inability to kill Dr. Mundo, but we're going to drop out of the lobby here really quickly and see if we can't remake things and fix all the issues that are going on.
I hope that's still a Veigar pick. I actually do like it because one answer to the assassination of a LeBlanc is when she jumps in, just kill her. You don't have any better CC than a gray screen, and that's what Veigar has to offer when going against LeBlanc. Even if you miss the event horizon, so long as you click your R and hit your Q, you might not even need to do that, honestly. LeBlanc squishy. You might just need to hit the R and pretty much delete that assassination attempt from LeBlanc.
All right. Well, you were actually talking a little bit earlier about Dr. Mundo. We're going to see him be picked here unless there's some crazy mess up with the teams or the champions. But Dr. Mundo did just get a change. So what changed about him? Well, it's this skill called Masochism. So that gives Dr. Mundo a bunch of bonus AD depending on how much missing health he has. Well, now it gives you 1% bonus AD for every 1% of your missing health, and it's the minimum bonus AD is also changed, so you get at least 100 bonus AD at max rank. However, now it's basic attack deals 5% of his max health as bonus physical damage, and it's an auto attack reset, so definitely pretty cool to think about. We're gonna go ahead and hop back into champion picks and bans here pretty quickly, and should be same picks for both sides.
Yeah, I don't think technically the Vigar was locked in, but I mean he was switched over at the very last second. I'm pretty sure that would have been a Vigar no matter what. So hope we do see the Vigar here. But yeah, Rumble in the top lane. So that's a big team fight comp coming out from UCLA. They have the Vayne just dancing around. Going to be hard to lock him down. But you have the Cataclysm. You have the Equalizer. And hopefully with the Vigar locked in, you could throw the Event Horizon inside the Cataclysm. You have nowhere to go from it. You're going to be stunned almost indefinitely. So they can manage to do that one. Now on the other side, Hack's Defender actually locked in the Kha'Zix instead of the Pantheon. But the Pantheon was already locked in.
Yeah, I think that's why we don't see a champion picked here. I'm guessing he lagged out and wasn't able to change champions, or what's going on here. I'll get a quick read here from the admin arenas, but we'll go ahead and see what's going on with that pick. And it does look like the Kha'Zix there for Hack's Defender. He's played aggressive champions all series long. Jarvan, Pantheon, and now the Kha'Zix. But it's been a cool minute since I've seen Kha'Zix as a champion.
Yeah, he's been popping up every now and then in high-ranking solo queue. I've been spectating him a little bit, and he's still as powerful as you thought of him before. Most of them upgrading their wings, their flight on the E, to get the resets, jump in, assassinate, and then jump back out. So that's going to be in place of the Pantheon this time around, who doesn't have that reset. And no one's dodging. Looks like it's going to be allowed. So going to look for a more assassination-based champion. And that's one thing about Kha'Zix. You don't build him as tanky, but if you're not going to be snowballing, it's still going to be hard. It's similar to the way you would play Pantheon as far as your build path, but in team fights, you got to be patient. You got to practice a lot of focus. So you can jump into the back lines, try to assassinate Light Sludge, make sure he uses his Condemn to not knock you away. You can get that reset, jump in, jump out. It's a lot faster. It's a lot faster wind-up time than say Tristana's Rocket Jump. It's a lot better of assassination for him or Kha'Zix.
Right. We'll just keep an eye on Kha'Zix. Definitely a champion we haven't seen for a while, but we'll see if he's coming back here. Playing Kha'Zix or any assassin into a team comp that's going to have 3 champions that all build Zhonya's Hourglass. I don't know how well that's going to work out. We'll see if Hack's Defender can get that snowball rolling, and I'll see what you guys think about this final game. If you want UCLA to win, go ahead and hit us up with a vote for hashtag UCLA win. You can also hashtag CPP win in that straw poll if you guys want to throw your vote down there. And head on over to chat. Let us know how you feel, and we'll let you know how your team is doing when we go ahead and start game number 3 here in just a moment. But, of course, before we do head off to a quick commercial break, we want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. You can see them right there on your screen: Brain Gear, Twitch, and Alpha Draft. And make sure to go support them. Thank them for supporting us. And, of course, thanks for tuning in to tonight's Collegiate Star League broadcast. Couldn't do it without you guys either, so thanks for watching. Stick around. We'll be right back with our final game in this best-of-3 matchup between Cal Poly Pomona and UCLA. And alright, as the epic music starts, we get to go into game number 3. Our final match tonight in the best 3 series between UCLA and Cal Poly Pomona. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody else out there. My name is Reed Rapid Melton. Joining me once again, as always, is Joshua Fekez Quest. How you doing, man?
Hello, Rapid.
Why, hello there.
I'm doing fantastic. Glad the game is unpaused, and we're finally underway here. So, line of scrimmage being drawn by UCLA. As UCLA is on the red side, correct? It is Stantopoulos from UCLA? Yeah.
Yes, there we go. So you want to go ahead and make sure everybody is swapped back around there. So CPP Cal Poly Pomona, now that I can actually say their name correctly. Going to go ahead and swap back to their side on game number 1. But things are very, very different than game number 1 for a couple of different reasons. Now, instead of playing Lulu top, Jamheartsan is going to be running Dr. Mundo, a champion that did get recently some new buffs, but we'll see how well those work out versus Rumble, who also a different champion there for ganked by Honeys. Another thing to talk about, besides just the different champions, are kind of the different situations that we have after the games have been played out. Game 1, we had Light Sledge just completely hard carry after the rough early lane phase, carried him later on. Last game, we had a pentakill come out from Mookie's, and he's running that Jinx once again, so big power pick after that penta, so we'll see if he can reprise his previous performance.
Yeah, Jinx has been a big pick in this entire series so far. So far, up until now, we've seen Jinx countered by, or at least the opposing team who hasn't picked Jinx, has been picking Tristana to try to match the sort of late game turret sieging potential. But the thing about it is that they haven't been using Jinx as a big turret sieger. They've been using her as a massive team fight dominator, getting those rockets off, positioning very well, and just pummeling the enemy with rockets and anything else they can throw at them, flame choppers and zap as well. And I actually really like this combination from Listeria and Mookie's in the bot lane. Nami, you do land the bubble, you're gonna get a flame choppers as well, very similar to the dark binding from Morgana. So it's gonna be interesting because Nami inherently pretty squishy, but does have a decently team fight changing ultimate in her tidal wave. Let's see how she uses that one once the game starts going into these 5v5s.
Yeah, and of course, very big difference between the 5v5s and the 1v1s, the lane phase. We saw that in game 1. Terrible lane phase for UCLA, but able to carry it out later on.
Yeah. They've been falling behind on both laning phases in both the games so far. Just number 2, they weren't able to counter the snowball that was gained by Pomona. Pomona did a great job securing the early game laning phase that they kind of dominated early on, and like I said, didn't do that in the first game. We're going to see how it turns out this time around. See if UCLA can learn from the mistakes just as Pomona did.
Oh man, pitching Stantopoulos here. He's going to go over the wall, but Axe Defender's going in, trying to catch out some damage on the gank by Honey's. Red buff down, Cleaver is landing, Slow is out there. Gank by Honey's trying desperately to get back to the turret in time. Scrap shield, that is, saving his life.
Yeah, and that's a good thing about running a Kha'Zix in the jungle, is that if you find somebody, they're normally isolated, and you get that extra damage, you can really deal some upfront massive burst damage with the isolation bonus damage coming out from Kha'Zix. He actually got him on both Stantopoulos and Gank by Honeys, forcing them back, but it was very well played by the side of UCLA. They kept a hold of their summoner spells, did not get hasty, knew there wasn't as much kill potential there, especially with Jamheartsan on a Mundo. Nice flame choppers in the
Whoa, Black Shield a little bit late there, and Light Sledge takes so much damage off of it.
Yeah, he did Black Shield the Nami bubble, which is, if you're going to at least get one Black Shield, you might as well get on something. Especially one that immobilizes you, which Nami Bubble does. When you're on the flame choppers, you can still auto attack. You can still use your abilities that, as long as they're not, they don't, give you like a gap close or anything. So you couldn't use Tumble, obviously, but it's better to Black Shield better to Black Shield both of them. But if you had to pick one, Black Shield the Nami Bubble, better than nothing on that one. So he's still going to take a little bit of damage in the bot lane, but it's still going to be all right. Nice, Dark Shield that time.
Yeah, Daffy taking a ton of damage here. Walking forward, exhaust down onto Light Sledge. He and Daphne are very, very low. Summoner heal. They're chasing in. They got Stunt Topless coming in from the side. Silver Bolts proc onto Listeria. Slow there from the Golden Ages. Knocked up on both champions. Mookie's very low. The Condemn lands as well. Stunt's going for it. And there it is. Stunt Topless with a kill onto Mookie's.
Yeah, very nicely played. It was everyone on the side of Pomona used their CC to try to get Light Sludge. There were no wards in the river for them, so Stuntopolis able to walk down no problem, just pick up an assist. So it's already a better start to his jungle than he's had in the last 2 games. So this is very promising for UCLA right now.
Already, yeah, bottom lane, not 2 kills on the Vayne, but 2 assists. Still some extra gold going there. Early trip back to base for Mookie, so he'll come back with a pickaxe, which means theoretically you want to get out of lane as quickly as possible here for Light Sludge and Daphne. So bottom lane going well. Nice gank there by Stuntopolis, and we all know what happens when Stuntopolis starts getting going. As Diana in game 1 was massive, had the most gold in the game of any champion by far. So definitely want to keep an eye on him in the jungle. And equally aggressive play, Hax Defender. Great job in game number 2. Now on Kha'Zix, and he's put some damage down top lane. Haven't really seen much transpire.
Yeah, he's going to be really powerful. Actually, Stuntopolis hanging out in the mid lane here.
Looking for the knockup, dodged by Gank by Honeys, who will avoid the knockup, and then Distortion back to his turret. No mana left, so not really a whole lot of pressure in lane.
So it looks like Hax Defender, he was in the mid lane, wasn't able to do too much with it. He's going to go in onto Stuntopolis now.
Alright, now we got the 1v1. Kha'Zix so good in that matchup. We'll see if he can make it happen. Yeah, gonna go ahead and keep the damage going down. Wants to avoid the knockout. Knows Rumble's coming down from top lane. Avoids the equalizer completely and will escape by jumping over that wall. Not sure what that distortion was. Ganked by Honeys. Very low bottom lane. We got action there too. There's 1 kill. We're looking for Listeria to go down there. A little bit of extra movement speed. Dodge of the Dark Binding. They still might have kill potential here. The tumble for the auto attack. A double kill. Light Sludge didn't like those assists sitting in a score line, so he decided to pick up 2 kills instead.
Yeah, so even without Stuntopolis in the bot lane, Light Sludge and Daphne have complete control now of that bot lane. They don't need Stuntopolis to get a lead because they already have one. Bilgewater Cutlass in the inventory of Light Sludge made great use of that there. And now he's just going to shove up the wave, deny Mookie's a wave as well, and just go back, spend his hard-earned 1,000 gold. And yeah, he's taking control of that lane early on. That's exactly what you need as a Vayne, because Vayne is supposed to be typically weakest in the laning phase. Whenever you come out ahead, it's very telling for how your team fights are going to go in the mid lane. He's going to be able to tumble around, hit that stealth from the final hour, do very well in these team fights.
One thing you saw Hax Defender do there is he killed off the 2 tiny minions beside the red Brambleback, which is always what you want to do as Kha'Zix to get the isolation damage bonus from Taste Their Fear. Hax dropping down a little bit low there in the jungle, so wants to stay careful. Turns around to evolve his Q, but then he's going to have some issues finishing off the Krugs. Okay, he's not going to die to the jungle camp. That's the first step to answering the question of should you jungle. Do you die to jungle camps? Well, if the answer is yes, then probably not. Ganked by Honeys, put down some damage, jumps in and out of that event horizon.
Yeah, the event horizon not going to do too much, and this is a nice dark binding by Daphne. So in the mid lane, not too much has happened really. Vigar, you just want to make it through the lane. He's actually level 7 now, so he's had his primordial burst in his arsenal quite a while now. Hasn't been able to take advantage and use it against LeBlanc, who arguably might be able to just one combo. She's already building quite a bit of AP in this early going with a Phoenix Codex and 2 Doran's rings. And for anyone who doesn't know about Vigar, Primordial Burst does 80% of your enemy's AP damage in addition to its already 1-to-1 ratio scaling AP. Is it 1-to-1 now still? I know the other one is, yeah.
Yeah, so they did recently change the AP ratios of Vagar's skills because he's going to get more AP overall. Now, Ganked by Honeys misses one chain, hits with a second, and there's way too much damage. Primordial Burst or not, Ganked by Honeys grabs that kill on skill shots fired.
Yeah, and that's the problem with running a Vigar also, is that you're very immobile. Did not have a ward out for Hax Defender. Able to get in there, and Hax Defender did not even... he didn't even evolve his leap yet. He actually evolved his Taste the Fear, this Q, his claws, to get more of the isolation damage, his more upfront burst as well. So Very nice, nicely played by him, not even relying on the reset for the ganks.
Jamhearts and Dr. Mundo, yes, but can't really put the damage down onto Rumble, who should be coming back to lane once he recalls with things like Spirit Visage and Leandry's Torment, at which point Mundo's really not going to be able to do much. This is the most confusing item buy I've ever seen on Mundo. I have actually never... That's actually a never.
Item.
Yeah, Aegis of the Legion as your first and only item on Dr. Mundo. Like, it's great for a team, but it doesn't really do anything when you're by yourself. I mean, it does give you the stats when you're by yourself, but it's a very stat inefficient item unless you have other champions around you.
The only thing I can think of is that maybe Stuntopoulos, he might be anticipating Stuntopoulos trying to camp the top lane. Especially that wouldn't even help him either, would it? No, it wouldn't. I don't know. I'm questioning that too now. Just trying to find a reason. It wasn't really working. Yeah, normally you build a Spirit Visage, especially if you're going against a Rumble. It's typically you build a Spirit Visage on Mundo first to not only defend against the magic damage that Rumble is throwing at you, but it also enhances the use of your ultimate. But we have a gank in the mid lane. We'll talk about it later.
Gank by Honey is trying to walk around, needs the distortion out of there. The knockup nicely dodged there, but a flash from Skill Shots Fires lands the kill, dropping it down with a Baleful Strike, and now Jamhearts and no ult up, so he's gonna have to flash out of there. Skill Shots Fired might have been able to find one, but here comes the resets. Axe Defender trying to find as many as he can. Can't find any just yet, and unfortunately won't be able to find any kills there in the mid lane.
And yeah, he wouldn't even got the reset. He was all in there. That's the thing. Is that if you don't upgrade, hold on, we have a fight.
Mookies, a couple more auto attacks, but a beautiful bubble there, Listeria. Saves her AD carry, but may not be able to save herself. Flash away, but the auto follows. That's going to be another kill for Light Sludge, his third of the game.
Light Sludge is getting out of control. Or I should say he is out of control. He has Berserker Greaves, so with that 1,000 gold when he went back, he decided just to go ahead and get his boots first. Not going to get the Blade of the Ruin King finished as early as he wanted to, but it almost doesn't matter. Yeah, he has 1,700 in his pocket right now. He's just going to wait until he has enough gold, go back, get the Blade of the Ruin King. And he's going to be a monster with that extra attack speed and a little bit empowered active as well. He's already a monster. He's gonna take that turret pretty quickly now and be a terror to other lanes as well, which is what he needs to, because skill shots fired, having a little bit of a hard time in the mid lane. But he's if he can stay safe, he's been doing fine. He's actually out farming Gank by Honeys just fine, and he actually has a little bit of defense with the Unthiens and Holy Grail. Or actually, no, it's just the Chalice of Harmony so far. But
man,
yeah, yes, flashing.
The skill shots fired as a get out of jail free card. He's not getting locked down by any of these chains. There are no chains on me. I forget what movie that's from.
Oh, shoot.
I'm going to leave my movie expert Becca's up to that. If anybody else knows, feel free to share that out there. Jamhearts and versus Gank by Honeys. This is not going to go well. Stuntopoulos coming in for the knockup. The damage is there. Can Jamhearts and survive? Maybe for a few more seconds, but he is ultimately doomed. The Stuntopoulos coming in for a nice gank for the 7th kill in a row there. Well, not in a row, but 7th kill of the game for UCLA. Now Gank by Honey's facing a little bit of problems. Gets stunned up there and almost taken down, lives with 100 HP.
Yes, and it all comes down to Mundo. We have to question even more that Aegis and the Legion first pick. Because if he would have had Spirit Visage, he would have healed a little bit more. He was trapped in the Cataclysm, though, so you have to wonder how much it really helped. But I know that for a fact that the Aegis of the Legion, essentially helping him, almost helping him, not helping him at all in the top lane. I gotta get my words out here. Barely helping him at all in the top lane. He's only going against the Rumble in the top lane. So yeah, it works out because it's magic resistant. It does give him health, but I mean, yeah, you need a little bit more. Stuntopoulos, of course, he's been in that top lane. He's AD, but you're not going to build armor against the Rumble anyway. So Spirit Visage would have been the best option here. Gives you the cooldown, throws out those cleavers a bit more. Also, like I said, helps out your ultimate, your sadism. You're going to get more health regen out of that, and it could be life or death. But his turret is almost down on the top lane. Just a little bit more by Gank by Honeys, and he'll be down.
Yeah, the movie I was thinking of is the Avengers Age of Ultron used No chains on me is their
Oh
song.
yeah, yeah.
It's actually no strings on me, the old school Pinocchio.
It was the Pinocchio.
Yeah.
I thought it was. I was like, that sounds so familiar.
Bringing me back. But all right, now we're going back into the mid lane.
he's
Ganked by
caught.
Honey, stunned again. But no
he's
ult
primordial
up.
burst.
Yeah, it was actually 5 seconds away from being up because the primordial burst just now coming online. And Hack's defender was right there waiting for the kill.
Yeah, Ganked by Honey's going back, very wise too, because if he didn't use, he knows that if skill shots fired did not use that primordial burst, then it's on cooldown, more than likely just about.
Whoa, Hack's going in. He's gonna find one more auto attack and misses, and he's gonna. Whoa! How did Hack's defender time that primordial or the event horizon dropping right as he walks through that? It's like, you know, those ambulances that have the special emitter inside them to turn traffic lights from red to green. That's pretty much what Hack's defender just did. He walked right through, right up to skill shots fired, and took him down. Whoa, while we're following him, we got to do a quick instant replay down to the bottom lane. About to see Mookie's in a relatively difficult spot. A rampage there. Stuntopolis comes down and helps out with the 9th kill of the game. Of course, with a quick instant replay, we're going to see how Listeria died. And there we go. Now jumping back to live.
Yeah, it was a nice teleport by Ganked by Honeys. He doesn't really need to be in that top lane anymore. Mundo cannot, even with an empowered auto attack or auto attack reset, still can't push a tower that much, that hard, that fast. So very nice teleport by him. I'm surprised Dragon has not been taken by UCLA yet. They probably could have just taken it right there. Swung over to Dragon after getting that double kill in the bot lane. They're playing it a little bit cautious, I guess. I wouldn't say safe because they're really not needing to be safe from that much. So they're just playing it slowly, playing it passively, I guess would be the better term. Not being able to take the Dragon whenever they probably could. They are a turn up.
Dragon hasn't really been prioritized by either team. Usually you see that contested around, like, you know, anywhere from like 11 to 13 minutes is a good first Dragon timing. Well, it used to be that you could just trade Dragon for turret, but with double teleports being run nowadays, a lot more global pressure to worry about, yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes you'll even see Twisted Fates in the mid lane popping up now in Worlds and bring the teleport and his Destiny, so you almost have triple teleport as EGG ran one time.
Oh man, we got action in the mid lane. Direct camera takes the spot him.
Yeah.
So we still got to keep an eye on Ganked by Honeys. Ganked by Honeys versus Ganked by Honeys. And of course the rest of both teams piling on in as they arrive. Jam Heart's Hand coming up from behind, but nothing else. You see, skill shots fired was expecting the Ganked by Honeys to go back to his distortion. I was just making sure he didn't worry about that. Currently, and I know a lot of people like to check Veigar's Baleful Strike stacks, 109 the count there for Veigar right now. Going the distance, Stuntopolis locks down Ganked by Honeys and forces out a distortion. So really not all that impactful of a gank, but here comes Jan Hartzan. Gets the cleaver down, and will he be able to get the chain to last? Yes, it does. Catches Stuntopolis, but can't quite chase underneath that turret.
And that's one of the bad things right now that Pomona are finding themselves. They don't really have that much of wave clear. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, the Ignite taking down, chain latches! And LeBlanc's Ganked by Honeys, or Ganked by Honeys LeBlanc, able to pick up skill shots fired as a kill.
Yeah, Jam Hartzan, he's trying to roam, trying to do his best. It's not working out too well. He's not really finding himself in an advantageous position anywhere he roams. Even using teleport, still not paying off. Ganked by Honeys just shoving in his top lane. He has, it actually doesn't have teleport up, but just shoving this more into this top lane, and no one's really going over there to stop him. I think finally Ganked by Honeys is going up there saying, hey, I'm going to claim my name. I'm going to try to kill you, but the real Ganked by Honeys, I think he sees that coming. He's just going to back off now and go spend his spoils of war. So man, and now Hex Defender actually. Hex Defender, he's not really making that much of a presence on the map. He had a little bit of early game presence, but it's kind of deteriorated. And he has his leap evolved as well, so he can get resets, but he's not finding much of an opportunity. I feel like he needs to focus a little bit more either on the mid lane. He's trying to get the bot lane, but so many nice wards being placed by Daphne, scouting out Hex Defender at every turn. Now it looks like Ganked by Honey's coming down as well.
Yeah, you said Gaffney instead of Daphne, and I was like, making me miss some of our now Korean CSL staff. So
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, did you already forget? Oh my gosh.
No, 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 no.
I am
She texted
telling
me,
on you.
No, she messaged me happy birthday. No, we're like the only wrestling friends in the United States here. I swear. I can't find
It's
anybody
true.
who's a fan of
Just
wrestling.
giving you a hard time. So back to the actual game. We're talking about Dragon. Now it's being started. Suntopolis ganked by Honeys. They're coming down for it. Leandri's Torment completed by ganked by Honeys, which will allow that Dragon to be done very, very well. Super Mega Death Rocket just to scout things out, but it's smote away, and oh man, here we go. We're going the distance. Listeria getting that Fog of War, but going down, explodes. Now Stuntopolis flashing over the wall, and Mookie's gonna get dunked on. Light Sludge, he's coming in here, and will be hunting down Mookie's for another double kill.
That's very. You can tell how demoralized Mookie's is right now, or at least know that he had nowhere to go. He had flash up, didn't even use it. Knew that the turret was gonna go down no matter what. Decided not to use flash, keep it up as much as possible, because he's probably going to need it again in a few minutes anyways. Top turret goes down along with mid turret, 1 for 1, actually 2 for 1 in turrets, top and bottom in favor of UCLA. They're taking control of this map, they're split pushing now, and it's going to be split pushing.
Oh man, that is the Primordial Burst on ganked by Honeys. We'll have to distortion out of there. Skill shots fired and Suntopolis come up there. He put that down because it's on the distortion point. And he always does that. Anytime LeBlanc distortions, he'll put a skill down on the distortion point to prevent her from coming back on it.
I didn't even see the sigil on the ground. Here we go.
There's another Event Horizon locking down Hack's Defender, but oh man, ganked by Honeys, the chain latches, and he's going to take down skill. Shots fires, going for resets. Hack's Defender underneath the turret, but Jam Hearts and no one last turret shot will take him down.
He only has cloth armor.
Yeah, look at those Dr. Mundo items. What is up with that?
I'm not really sure what he's going for. I mean, the Aegis.
Yeah, to explain more fully, it's not just that he has random items. It's that traditionally for Dr. Mundo, you have very well-established build paths. If you're going into an AP matchup, you want Spirit Visage into, yeah, pretty much Spirit Visage. That's the item you want to go for.
Big item, yeah.
But instead of doing that, he built an Aegis and then didn't complete that into the locket. Instead, he's now going for what looks like a bunch of other items. Wow, dropping the hammer and the equalizer there. Taking down, actually Daphne gets the kill on Listeria. So nice to see her clocking in for a second kill of the game. And just look at the duo lanes. They're the biggest story that was completely flipped around from Game 1. Game 1, Daphne and Light Sludge were very far behind. Game number 3, their perfect score, 8-0. 11. Had to make sure I got the math right there. But
We got it.
yeah, very, very strong performance and a 13-4 score overall.
Yeah, and it's not just that. Stuntopolis is doing phenomenal in the jungle as well. 3-0-6. Overall, UCLA have really stepped up this game number 3 and started showing the later game of their game number 1 that they had and just running away with it so far. They're 8K up right now. 3 turrets. They have the map pressure. They have the control. They have wards littered throughout the bottom side jungle, and that's allowing Light Sludge to split push this entire time and make sure he's not going to be ganked by anybody from Pomona. But yeah, Pomona, they're kind of in a rut. They don't know what to do. Ganked by Honeys on LeBlanc, 3-1-0, but still can't really be hugely effective right now. And even Hack's Defender, he hasn't died yet, but he also has not been able to get the resets like he wants to. He's been kind of, anytime he leaps in, been getting taken down as well. So, tough position for Pomona right now. By Honeys. I think he could 1v1 this. That's the wrong way to leap.
Yeah, Hack's Defender, I don't think it's too hard to figure out which way he's going.
Boy.
Tries to flash away. Oh, gets auto-attacked right before he stealths. The auto-attack is already queued up, and Hack's Defender going down. His first death of the game, though, so still fairly monumental. Jam Hearts and not in a great spot here. All it's going to take is a dunk, but he will have the flash over the wall. Stun's going to follow him, but I don't think they're okay. Jam Hearts and will get dunked on. He stayed perfectly still. He's going to get CC locked, and that's what Vayne does. The health stacking tank. Silver Bolts taking him down. Now, Ganked by Honeys might have something to say about this. Stuntopolis rounds the corner.
Yeah,
They're going to think second thoughts.
This is exactly what Light Sludge needs to be doing, roaming the map. He stayed bot quite a long time, got his Phantom Dancer, and...
Oh, Ganked by Honeys condemned to the wall. The flash over! And as soon as he comes out of that Ganked by Honeys will get away alive. Tricky. Nice, yeah, trickiness.
Oh, I would say Defender Hacks. I don't think Primordial Burst would have killed him, but it certainly would have made him think twice about going close to the edge of his own base. So this is what UCLA needs to do. They need to start grouping up here, take advantage of the Event Horizon and Daphne's Dark Binding, and just destroy somebody. Delete somebody off the map. You catch one person, they're gonna die. With how much power is on the side of UCLA, they're going to be able to do anything they want whenever they catch somebody from Pomona, which, well, you got a little shots to do so too.
And skill shots fired. Whoa! Jump in by Hex Defender, the double bounce! Daphne, very, very low Super Mega Death Rocket, wishes by. Daphne, very low once again, but does land that Q. Dies immediately afterwards, but picks up the 1v1 in the end. Jam Hard Sand and Mookie's it versus Light Sludge. Light Sludge, he needs to kill off Mookie's one more auto attack, and he does it! He's gonna get the 2v1 in the end. Light Sludge tumbling away a double kill, his third double kill of the game for an 11-04 score.
And that, I want to point out, that was a 3v5. A little bit overzealous jump from Hack's Defender. His team, well, besides Ganked by Honeys, couldn't really keep up with that, but they still did well. But they could not lock down Light Sludge. And even in a 3v5, as long as as long as Daphne and Ganked by Skill Shots Fired were able to take off maybe one or two of the champions, keep him off of Light Sludge, Light Sludge was able to just tumble around and actually 2v1 in the very end. Very nicely played by Light Sludge. He's legendary now. He's actually being 11-04. He's beyond legendary.
I feel like if this game looks totally different if you've been watching League of Legends for a long time. I got so many flashbacks from watching Light Sludge play on Meat Playground before he was replaced by JRT7. Way back in, must have been like season 2, I want to say. Really long time ago. And seeing Light bust out those Vayne plays once again, just, you know, gives me those nerd chills deep down inside.
Yeah, and you can't really say he's oh my gosh, look at the burst. That's even from a rumble.
Well, to be fair, most of that burst came from Dr. Mundo activating Sadism, which steals 20% of your health, so...
Yeah, I forgot he actually... that happened, and yeah, that's the thing too, without Spirit Visage.
Oh, okay, nice try there, Ganked by Honeys. Unable to steal that... Dragon away. Jam Hard Sand doing his best to try to hold this top lane, but with Void Staff, Sorcerer's Shoes, and Leandri's Torment, that's an anti-Mundo build if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, and Mundo, I don't know.
Oh, Daphne lands the Dark Binding. Axe Defender's trying to stealth out, but you're not going to get away from that. Light Sludge, triple legend. Actually, what is that? It's like quadruple legendary. 12-04 his score, and now the turret's dropping right and left. I don't think there's much to stop this Vayne.
I know, they have to completely lock them down, but look who has CC on the side of Pomona University. Pretty much only Listeria. Of course, you have the Ethereal Chains from Ganked by Honey, but if you throw Ethereal Chains onto Light Sludge, he's going to kill you before they even locks you down. So the only thing that you really have to rely on is Flame Choppers and a Nami Bubble.
Oh man, Jam Hard Sand avoiding most of that damage, but the damage on the turret's still coming in. Light Sludge putting it out, and there's still minions, so he's not going to be stopped from killing that off. First base turret of the game goes down, and I don't think there's anything stopping this first inhibitor from falling. UCLA and a whole lot more.
Oh.
These inhibitors starting to fall.
Yeah, and they might as well just migrate to the mid lane, take out the wave, wait for their wave to come in, and do the same thing to this mid lane inhibitor and inhibitor turret. There's, like you said, there's really nothing stopping them.
Oh my gosh, Daphne takes that ignite, but will stay alive. Assassination attempt. But when as an assassin you can't kill the support,
right?
Feels bad, man.
Yeah, that's something I was just about to point out. The only thing he missed was the Ethereal Chains, and that may have been barely able to kill Daphne, who, like you said, support, not building any magic resist, actually has a Glacial Shroud and a Zanya's right now. So,
to be fair, she does have black shields, so that mitigates a little bit of magic damage.
Did she even use it there? If it did, it was popped so fast I couldn't even see it.
Oh, Ganked by Honeys. Super Mega Death Rocket whizzes right on by. Whee! Into the wall.
Yeah, nice Event Horizon gonna zone off the Jinx from getting too close. Of course, the rockets do outdamage it, but you still don't want to get too close to even an underwhelming Vigar. You can still get bursted down pretty hard, living up to the name Primordial Burst. So it looks like Pomona, they're trying to be offensive here, but I mean, it's all in vain, and that's no pun intended. They really just can't mount an offense right now, especially with Hack's Defender in the bot lane. It's constantly going to be a 4v5 right now.
All right, well, 21 to 6, daunting score, but Axe Defender doing the utmost. He's gonna grab that bottom turret kill. It's only the second turret of the game to be taken there for CPP. Not necessarily a great spot to be in, but we'll see if they can do anything about this impending Baron. Now the Suntopless and Light Sludge is putting out so much damage. Went double lifesteal items too, so he's gonna be staying alive for a long time in these upcoming fights.
Gank by Honey's gonna try.
Gank by Honey's gets the Baron steal! Are you kidding me? I don't even know what to say right now. Unprepared to cast that moment. Axe Defender in the meantime taking second tier turrets. What just happened, Fekez?
He has a Baron buff to push now too. It looks like Gank by Honeys is gonna go back though. That was a fantastic steal by Gank by Honeys. It's gonna keep. I don't think it's gonna keep him in the game, but it's gonna. I don't know. It's a very nice notch in your belt. They're in no position to really defend against this mid lane inhibitor turret, and they're still just gonna take it. UCLA is gonna take it no problem.
Oh man, skill shots fired! Bursting down, Mookie flashes out of that event horizon, and now Axe Defender busting out Gank by Honeys. He's gonna flash away, Jam Heartland in the front lines. Light Sludge, Banshees fail, and Tact is in a very strong position further forward. Pops that Banshees fail, another event horizon locks down Jam Heartland. He's gonna flash out, Light Sludge forced to flash away. Look at those crits coming in. Gank by Honeys gonna get dunked on. Suntopless out of the fight. The reset's coming in. Axe Defender gets one, gets stuck in the event horizon, taken down there, and oh man, Daphne, very, very low, but stretching for it. Suntopless finds one kill for himself. Nice event horizon, stops the chase. But man, what a game, Fekez. I don't even know what to say. We got Baron steals by LeBlanc. You got double inhibitors taken there by UCLA. You got a big chase by CPP. And in the end, who's ahead?
I don't want. It's very exciting, but I don't want to be too much of a downer because Pomona, they're still really far down in this game. It's still incredibly hard for them to come back. They just lost their mid lane inhibitor. Their top lane inhibitor is still down. UCLA still have an extreme amount of control in this game. Light Sludge, they are pretty much just having fun in that little skirmish underneath the in the mid lane. Light Sludge was in the front lines the entire time, backing up everyone from Pomona until I think Pomona kind of like a light went off. Like, oh, this is an ADC. Come on, guys. And they just decided to chain CC her, and then Axe Defender finally taking advantage of the resets. Haven't seen it all game like I want to, but then got stuck, of course, in the horizon and shut that down. But Baron is still on some of the members of Pomona, and UCLA, I don't think they care. They're still going to shove. They're still 8K ahead right now. They can do anything they want still, even with a Baron buff on Pomona.
Man, Baron steals make all things possible, but
yeah, it's fun to watch. It's definitely fun. Don't get me wrong. It's very exciting, but I don't think the game is near as close as a Baron steal would make it seem to be.
I'm still just completely destroyed. I'm just like, wait a second. What's going on? A little bit in shock, but I'm sure UCLA are also in shock. We put up the scoreboard there once again. So where are we at this game? We're 23-8. Looks like a massive disadvantage. Actually is a massive disadvantage. 8,000 gold difference between these two teams, and game kind of balanced here. One mistake on either side could either, get... Oh, man, Axe Defender. A little bit of a rough spot. Ulting himself out of there. Forced to jump away. Taking him out of the fight may mean the death of this second-tier bottom lane turret.
Yeah, and actually, I don't even think they need to wait for the minion wave. They could just tank it up and have Light Sledge wail away on it. But now, Mysteria and Mookies are in the bot lane. But with a Vigar there and a Morgana, any one of them get caught, they're going to die. Especially at this point late in the game. 253 Vigar doesn't seem very strong, but he can still delete somebody. He's a Vigar with a Primordial Burst that does an insane amount of damage and has an insane AP ratio.
Alright, well, we got the drop the cage there. Jam Heartland will be forced to ult now. Here comes the tidal wave. It's going to hit onto 3, but that's going to pop the Banshee's fail on Light Sludge. He's actually a little bit vulnerable, but he's the furthest forward member of the team. There's Listeria. Gets up. Shield shots fired. Takes her down. You can see Gank by Honeys in the backline looking for a flank. Super Mega Death Rocket is just used, but hasn't found a kill there. Nice binding, Daphne, right on The LeBlanc clone, ganked by Honey, is heading back to base, but he's doing so on a ward. So the rest of UCLA, no, they don't have to worry about the LeBlanc. Mookie's getting locked down, taking down the turret down as well. Third inhibitor of the game in is very, very vulnerable. It's going to go down. Jam Harzan trying to get back to the fountain and just barely makes it out there alive. Ganked by Honeys. Zanya is just to stay alive. 3 inhibitors down, and now UCLA pushing forward for what could be the win. They do have a little bit of time there. Hax Defender gets in for 1 kill. Can he find any more? And I think that kill might just have pushed UCLA back for now.
Hax Defender, yeah, it looks like it has, but damage done. 3 inhibitor turrets down. So these super minions are going to be pouring into this base. 1 Nexus turret is down, they only have 1 left, and the wave clear isn't really substantial on the side of Pomona. I mentioned it earlier, you have Jinx's rockets and distortion. That's about it. Everything else is kind of a one... oh
no, Listeria! No, not like
fish,
this! Fish getting caught. If it was a Thresh, you know, you could make the hook joke. Okay. Man, that Scuttle Crab just jukes skill shots fired so hard. No, Daphne! Or skill shots fired. There's someone. No! Oh my gosh, a perfect stun there, Daphne! Setting up for the lockdown, and that's that TSM flare right there. Double. See, that's the synergy. Double TSM flare. Nice job. The synergy. Daphne and skill shots fired. Setting up for a nice kill on Ganked by Honeys.
I mean, that is true synergy. You hit one CC, you're gonna get hit by the other, especially when you're outside there by yourself and the Rift Scaler's like, alright, peace, I'm walking away. There's a big comet falling at me, I'm not gonna be part of this, guys. Yeah, man. That's just Ganked by Honeys trying to do something flashy, because I couldn't have thought he was really gonna get something out of that. Pomona's back's against the wall. You're just trying to have fun with it now. Mid lane inhibitor is up, the bot 2 are still down. They're trying their best to keep these waves shoved out, but it's only a matter of time before UCLA, and they may want to wait for Baron, but it's only a matter of time before they group up in the mid lane and just shove for the win.
Keep an eye out. Thanks. Topless gets caught there. Hax Defender with a lot of single target damage to dish out. Black Shield does not help mitigate that, but it will get Suntopolis out just barely alive. I say barely. He's got 1200 HP, but that is less than a third of his previous.
Yeah. Look at that, 3 super minions on the bot side.
Oh man, defending this middle inhibitor is actually huge, but it doesn't look like they're going to. Yeah, just gonna let it drop, and it's double super minions from every single lane.
Yeah, if they would have went to go defend that mid lane inhibitor, they would have had super minions bashing into their Nexus turrets, and the Nexus turret, well, the Nexus turret, and it would have went down, and then you can just be backdoored, no problem. But they're gonna go over to the Baron and just set this up for a front door. I want to see another steal, just because they're exciting.
Man, gotta watch out. Skill shots fire is gonna be huge in this fight. Able to stay back to the back, but also dropping cages to catch. You can see he's not even helping with Baron because he's guarding the approach route coming in. Baron actually down below half HP, and here comes Cal Poly Pomona. Ganked by Honeys avoids the cage, staying out towards the back. Mookie's actually dishing out a lot of damage on a Ganked by Honeys, but can he survive in time? Oh man, nice flash over the wall. Oh, Light Sludge. Little bit of lag there. He's gonna hit the back button, but I don't think anybody really needs to recall. With super minions pushing into the base, it's actually a CPP that needs to recall to save their remaining Nexus turret. Hax Defender, he's taking a beating down on the bottom lane, just trying to stop these double super minions from pushing in.
Yeah, the Nexus turret got taken down half health, and there was no attempt to steal. Mookie still has a Super Mega Death Rocket up, and if you're this far down in the game, just throw a Hail Mary, guys. Just do it.
Oh man, flash in, skill shots fired. Just gonna land that Primordial Burst, and he'll be able to find himself his 5th kill of the game. Jumping in for the resets, Hax Defender gets locked down. A perfect binding from Daphne will keep him from getting anything. Nice Zanya's there by Ganked by Honeys, keeps him alive. And, oh man, Jam Harzan not gonna stay alive for much longer. It's an ace, only skill shots fired, dropping down. And at the end of game number 3, UCLA take down Cal Poly Pomona at 39 minutes.
Yeah, very, very well played by UCLA. The first game had trouble in that laning phase, came back and took that game pretty decisively after about the 25-minute mark. Then the second game, they just could not get that snowball back like they wanted to. Stantopoulos had a very rough time on the eve. Went back in the third game to a comfort pick on the Jarvan, who he played in the first game. Did so much better. 4-0-13. Did not die that entire time. Very well earned by UCLA, but good props to Pomona for bringing it to a third game.
Wow, what a series, going the distance for all 3 games. And to be fair, we've actually had a lot of, 3-game best of 3s this season. And we're only 3 weeks in, so you guys do not want to miss any of the Collegiate Star League League of Legends action this season. If you guys want to stay up to date, you can go ahead and follow us on our social media links. You can see them right there on screen. See Star League on Twitter, Collegiate Star League on Facebook. If you want more information on the players' teams or just want to sign up yourself, you can head on over to cstarleague.com for more information. Of course, if you want links to either Fekez or myself, you'll see those thrown in chat. If you want to talk to us or discuss the games, we'd love to talk back to you. And of course, as always, do want to thank everyone for tuning in tonight, and of course, thank our sponsors. You can see them on the screen: Brain Gear, Twitch, and Alpha Draft. Man, what a crazy day. Congratulations once again, UCLA, clutching it out at the end of game number 3. What are your thoughts on these games, Fekez?
Like I said, very entertaining, extremely different. From Baron kills to, from Baron steals, I should say, to Baron kills actually, and just the kind of back and forth, bringing to game number 3. You never know what's going to happen because both teams showed huge strengths in both games. They're just UCLA. They showed a little bit more strength, especially Light Sledge, man, carrying that. I can't even say he carried the game, but man, Light Sledge really displaying how much of a mechanically inclined ADC he is. Very entertaining. Look forward to seeing him in the games. And look forward to next Friday at 6 p.m. PDT, I believe it is still. So check us back here at twitch.tv/CStarLeague. I believe it is Texas A&M versus Georgia Tech next Friday. So definitely catch that one.
Yeah, don't want to miss that. Do want to thank everybody for tuning in once again. Check us out later on this week. We'll see you back then. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.
I'm running away from the past I left behind. I'm looking for answers, but I'm blinded by the light. I'm lost in the music, can I stay here for the night? I promise I'll be gone in the morning, out of sight and out of mind. This is reality, you only live it once, so wake up from your dream. But just for tonight, let the lines get blurred, let your thoughts be free, let your thoughts be free. Just for tonight, let your thoughts be Just for tonight, would you come with me? Just for tonight, let the lines get blurred.